pellet gun, knives, a hammer, and a machete, firing several pellets toward the building before being taken into custody. That building houses multiple federal agencies, including immigration offices. Barnacle says the suspect had anti-ICE materials and made anti-ICE statements.
He is an anti-American, anti-government extremist. We know that from what he said. We know that from what he has said post-arrest.
For now, the investigation continues. The attack left 3 people with minor injuries, 1 civilian and 2 government employees. The conflict with Iran now blamed for at least 17 deaths of U.S. service members, including several over the weekend.
The U.S. has targeted Iran's positions inside Iran for the past 9 nights, CENTCOM saying they have hit command and control centers as well as launching sites for drones and ballistic missiles. These U.S. attacks come after 3 U.S. service members killed in Jordan on Friday, the result of an Iran ballistic missile strike.
Fox's Steve Harrigan in Tel Aviv. 2 of those service members have been identified. A 3rd set of remains was found, and a 4th soldier killed in Iraq during a controlled detonation of an Iranian drone. Neither side is ruling out continued diplomacy, but publicly Iran remains defiant, while also suggesting there have been new proposals from mediators. A mixed finish on Wall Street, the Dow down 305. America is listening to Fox News.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids Max Strength. Its dual-active formula has 1,500 milligrams of calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaids spells powerful relief. 1,500 milligrams is our highest amount of antacid per tablet. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She could get a deal. Book telehealth if she feel.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insured.
Summertime is alive and well this evening, hanging around 90 degrees, clear, warm, and humid overnight. The overnight low, only 78. Tuesday, partly sunny, hot, and humid, but a cool front is on the way. Couple of spot thunderstorms. I don't see a lot of thunderstorm action. 95 for the high. Winds are out of the north come Tuesday evening. Tuesday night, partly cloudy. Nothing more than some spot evening thunderstorms. 71. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
It's so damn hot. Milk was a bad choice.
Oh, yeah. We only play that when we have triple-digit heat indices, and we have that today. I think it's 94. The good news is we've got a cool front coming in here.
Oh, we do?
Wednesday. Wednesday's high is going to be 81, so 94 right now feels like 102. Same thing for tomorrow, but Wednesday's high, only 81, and I think Thursday, Friday, the same thing. So, look, I still will make the case that we're getting off pretty easy here with summer. It was a little sticky over the weekend. Are we getting also, I think we got a little haze today from the wildfires.
Yeah, I
noticed it this morning.
Yeah.
I was looking for it. Is that what that was?
I think it is.
All right.
Thankfully, we weren't hit as bad as, Detroit and Cleveland and New York City and a lot of these places. Although, didn't the skies open up quite nicely in New Jersey yesterday for the World Cup final? I mean, you could not have had better weather for that. It was right around 80 degrees, clear skies after everything that they had experienced. I mean, that could have been a much different experience for fans and the players had the weather not been very good. And if it was set for 2 days earlier, I'm not so sure they wouldn't have probably have had to postpone it because of the way the skies looked, right? Yeah.
Having to postpone a World Cup final. I mean, there may not be a bigger event in the world that you would have to change the time of it. That would have been crazy. So glad it worked out.
But I would say, with all the fears that people had going into it and, the negativity, that it was a pretty big success. We're going to have Andrew Bailey on a little bit later. He's the assistant director of the FBI. He did a lot of stuff when it came to the security for the World Cup. And they're kind of saying, Fred, even this was like preparing for, 78 Super Bowls, right?
Yeah.
with the level of security. So a successful World Cup. Look, if we're speaking candidly about the games themselves, I missed most of the England-France game, but I did see the highlights, and that was mind-blowingly entertaining, right? It was really good.
Game of all of them.
And then yesterday's was kind of a dud from a game perspective because, look, if you watched it, Spain was controlling the whole thing, and Argentina looked like they might get lucky again with something like they managed to do against Egypt and some of these other teams. But I think the better team overall won, and it was a great experience. And I think the Europeans really, really enjoyed their time here in the U.S. And, you're going to have criticism of Trump, and he was there trying to take pictures with the Spaniards and everything, and people are complaining about that. But overall, I would say a really, really good World Cup experience. And look, this is from someone who's not into the beautiful game that much, but I really enjoyed watching it. Now, we had the pregame ceremonies yesterday and the halftime show, and there appears to be a bit of a divide on whether or not that was good or not. We'll get to that here in a second because I haven't talked to the team and I don't know where everyone is. One thing I will say now, Sue, I'll ask you because I asked you to watch the halftime show.
Yes.
Did you watch any of the game at all?
Nope.
Okay. Well, you didn't miss
1-0
you didn't miss
nil,
much.
whatever.
Did you
Snore.
hear any of the national anthem by any chance?
I did not.
Okay, so Jennifer Hudson, here we go. So I will tell you, and I'm going to get to the part here at the end here. I mean, she was great.
Wow.
Nailed it.
She's awesome.
So I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm going to tell you, I'm sitting in my basement watching this yesterday, and I got emotional watching Jennifer Hudson do the national anthem. I really did. I'm watching all these people and the teams prepare for battle and thinking about our country and freedom in 250 years. Honestly, I got a little teary-eyed, and I was not expecting that. I really did. So then, the game starts. Actually, they did something a little different. So they did the national anthem, and then they did this song that was like the FIFA. Do we have any of that? I don't think I had you pull that. I thought that was pretty good. So then you get to the halftime show. You got everyone up there on the on the stage. They're breaking down the game. They're talking about the ins and outs, blah blah blah. And then they get to the halftime show, and because of the halftime show, it's a longer halftime. I think
10
it's
minutes
like
longer.
10 minutes longer, right? Oh, wait, one thing I have to do here because I forgot about her. Oh, the woman who did the Argentina national anthem. 2 things. Maybe 3 things, okay? All right, 3 things. 1,
I know.
super hot, okay?
I knew it.
2, really, really good. 3, super hot. Did I mention that? Because
And what was she wearing?
I don't know, but I'm a fan. I'm like, I was going for Spain until she sang the national anthem
Okay,
of
I gotta
Argentina.
look her up. Stand
So
by.
and what was cool about that? Like Spain, nothing
what do
wrong.
I look up woman who sang?
Yeah, just national anthem singer.
When Mark got here today, I said, "Did you see who sang the Argentina national anthem?" He said, "Pull that too. Pull that too."
Because she was phenomenal. But the thing that was kind of cool about that, honestly, was that the Spain national anthem was just horns, and there were no words to it that I'm aware of. I'm not sure. But everyone, like the team, Messi, all the Argentinians, there were more people from Argentina that were in that crowd than fans for Spain. But she was really, really good. Okay, so then
I like the players. They just don't sing it; they scream it.
Oh, they were screaming it. Yeah, it was really cool. So that was fun. So then you have the halftime show. Okay, so it opens with Madonna. And most of it with Madonna, I think, is pre-recorded, and then she comes kind of out of the
100%.
tunnel. Right, yeah. So they did this, but they do these things at these shows. So she comes out. My most important thing with Madonna is don't embarrass yourself, because one thing I know is that she shouldn't be shaking her hips like Shakira, because Shakira, well, her hips don't lie, and they still don't lie. Let me tell you something. So Madonna goes into the Muppets. Muppets maybe a little weird, right?
Okay, that was
But
weird.
it was fun factor, I thought.
liked that part. The end was...
All right, wait, we're not
All
at the
right,
end
sorry.
yet. We're still in the middle.
Sorry.
So the Muppets are doing stuff, and then Jason Sudeikis does a little Ted Lasso.
Loved it.
Coach, I gotta say, the first half of halftime knocked my darn socks off.
Spectacular, baby.
I mean, how the heck is anyone gonna be able to follow all that?
Gonna be tough.
Yep. Yeah, you know what I think we need? We need some heart. Someone that has some soul. Someone who can bring the love. Ooh, you think of what I'm thinking?
One step ahead of you, Coach.
You always are. All right, young man, let's go. It's your big shot. Okay. Now listen to me. Go out there. Don't be nervous. Nobody's watching.
I loved this.
So, but that part, okay, that was weird because Justin Bieber. Wait, let me get to Shakira with the hips don't lie, because Shakira's out there. Man, she looks good. She's like almost 50 years old, right?
Yeah.
And she's doing her thing. And then there's a lot of energy to it, a lot of choreography. And then Justin Bieber comes out and he and I told Becky, I'm like, if I run into this guy at the QT, I don't know he's Justin Bieber because he's got beard now. He looks very different. And the song was okay, but I didn't understand if they were trying to create some time to do the last number or not.
Okay.
So it was
Can I
weird.
comment, please?
Yes, please do.
I thought he was awesome. And he was the only live performer. And I thought he did a fantastic job. And I liked the song.
Oh, I don't take. I
thought
actually
that
liked
was
it
awesome.
too.
So it wasn't lip synced, and there he was. I thought he was the best part of it.
Okay, to me it was it was just the energy. It wasn't the performance. It wasn't the song. It was just that it came from where all this energy happened. And then they had Chris Martin and the kids and Coldplay and stuff, and a lot of colors on the field. Now look, I went on. I think that this was a better, by far, halftime show than anything that recently the NFL has put on because of all their wokeness and crap. So I text Ethan that, and Ethan, completely different experience, right?
I was not a big fan of it. I thought the way you describe it doesn't sound like we're that far off. I love Justin Bieber. The performance put me to sleep. I like the song, but not for a halftime show. The Muppets, Madonna. I thought Shakira's was the best part, but what year is it? Is it 2005?
He goes, what is it, 2004?
So I think the kids part was super weird at the end where,
agreed.
the World Cup always
Why was that weird?
It was weird.
What do you mean, how was that weird?
How
There's
was
a
it
bunch
weird?
of kids singing, we love each other, unity. Listen, is it a bad message? No, but it's just weird.
It wasn't good.
It just felt like it was
Fred and
kind
I
of
are on a different page,
It
right?
felt very gimmicky to me. And
Agreed.
listen, I'm not going to say that the Super Bowl halftime shows have been good the last couple of years, but to argue that if this would have been the Super Bowl halftime show, that this would have been worlds better, I would have said that I thought that this overall was pretty lame too.
Okay, I liked it. I thought it was good. It was entertaining.
did
It didn't
too.
make me feel like it was embarrassing, like Bad Bunny or anything else like that. I don't understand where they hate. So here's this guy. What's this guy's name from the British coverage? Wayne Rooney. Is he a former player? I don't even know.
Very world-renowned former
So
player.
Wayne Rooney is world-renowned former player of the beautiful game, and here's what he said.
I'll be honest, man, was when it finished. I like a lot of them artists, but I thought it was crap.
That was crap.
That's it, obviously.
Tell you what else you get on the BBC, honest reviews.
What about the Macarena? Can I get to? No, it just didn't get me going.
I think it was Bieber that kind of brought you down, wasn't it? I think Bieber was a bit slow for you.
Yeah, they didn't like the Yanks. They didn't like the show. So I don't know. Is there anyone chiming in on the feed right now? Because I was really surprised that people didn't like it as much as they didn't like it, because I thought it was
People
really
never
good.
like anything.
Well,
that's what I've decided.
That's kind of the thing. Like, what is the win here for someone doing one of these shows? Because they get ripped no matter what happens, right?
Yeah, maybe I'm from the older crowd, but I liked it a lot because I think I knew all the songs. I knew the words, and it kind of made sense to me what was going on, even though it was disjointed at times. It kept moving.
I thought it was just a big celebration of
Agreed.
the end of the World Cup. So
That's
what's
how
wrong
I
with
took
that?
it,
And
except the kids were weird. But yes,
maybe I got to rewatch that part because I didn't think the kids
some
were
of
weird.
them couldn't sing, which was weird. And I liked the Muppets up front, but at the end,
just felt kind of cheesy to me. Like I said,
Yes.
I will say this: I'm thankful that a bunch of agenda wasn't shoved down our throats. That there wasn't like this massive, ugly messaging behind it, or that like one side of the country or the world is like evil. I'm glad that wasn't there. But as from an entertainment perspective, I was like, I thought it could have been better.
Okay, but in the end here, as I take a break and Josh Hammer's coming up, one thing I think we can all agree on is the woman who did the Argentina national anthem is super hot. We're coming back.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
I looked her up. She's the woman with the really dark hair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
She's a good singer, Sue.
She's talented.
I liked her performance.
All right. Eastbound 70 is jammed east of Warrenton. There is they don't say. I was going to say, yeah, it is an accident reported there. It's before you get to Wright City. And westbound 70 is fine out of downtown. A little slow at K. 64 westbound, moderate volume at Clayton Skinker. Eastbound is slowing at 270, and then westbound looks pretty good. 55 slows just south of Highway M. On the Illinois side, 64 lines up, headed for 159. And we've got Route 3 south of the Poplar Street Bridge, jammed due to a slow-moving train at Monsanto Avenue. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
The radical left let crime and drugs pour into our nation, and they let biological men into girls' sports. But here in Missouri, if there's a problem, we fix it. That's why Ann Wagner's fixing the mess the radical left made and delivering for us. Wagner voted to ban biological men from competing in girls' sports. And she voted to fund the police and provide more resources for Border Patrol agents, keeping our families, communities, and children safe. And Ann Wagner didn't stop there. In Congress, Wagner passed the largest working-class tax cut in American history, kept big government out of our business, protected our way of life, and ensured our communities remain safe. That's why Ann Wagner's endorsed by the Missouri Farm Bureau and Missouri Fraternal Order of Police. Vote Ann Wagner for Congress on August 4th.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Nor Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's crawfordbutts.com.
Let me tell you one of the reasons I think we became the largest injury firm in the world, and it's not even close. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. My wife and I had a plan early on. In our firm, our lawyers only work on certain types of cases. Our products liability and dangerous drug lawyers only work on those cases. Same for car crashes, workers' compensation, medical malpractice, and insurance disputes. Our thinking is for these lawyers to focus on one area of the law and live it and breathe it. Power comes from knowledge. Many lawyers do everything, jack of all trades. Not us. And we don't charge an hourly rate. You only pay us if we win. If you want to hire us, it's easy. Dial Pound Law on your cell phone, pound 529, or visit forthepeople.com on your phone or computer from the comfort of your own home. Let us get to work for you. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Let's just face it, right? Your home should work for you, not against you. Hi, it's Kim, and if you've been dreaming of a new kitchen, bathroom, or a finished basement, now's the time to call Lakeside Renovation and Design. They're St. Louis's trusted experts in turning houses into dream homes. Just imagine this, a spa-like bathroom, maybe a chef-inspired kitchen, or how about a cozy basement perfect for some movie nights? Their team handles everything from design to installation so you can just sit back and enjoy the process. Visit lakesidearty.com today to start your dream renovation.
Mark Reardon is St. Louis conservative.
Jacob Olidort is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. He is the Chief Research Officer and Director of American Security at the America First Policy Institute. He'll have the latest on Iran. We're going to talk about that a little bit here also with our next guest, Josh Hammer, back with us, Newsweek's Senior Editor-at-Large. He hosts the Josh Hammer Show. You hear it Saturdays at 1 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk. Josh, good Monday afternoon to you. How are you?
Mark, I'm doing great, my friend. How are you doing?
Good. Our main debate here has been on the World Cup halftime show. Did you see it, and would you like to weigh in?
You know, I watched the whole game, but I actually went for a little walk during halftime, to be honest with you. So I caught very, very little of it, so I feel ill-equipped to weigh in. I do feel well-equipped to weigh in on the fact that Spain just totally kicked Argentina's butt, much to my chagrin, unfortunately.
Yeah, they dominated Argentina. There's no doubt about that. All right, so let me start with Mayor Mamdani in New York City here, because he wants to talk about arresting Bibi if Bibi comes to New York City.
I believe that Prime Minister Netanyahu belongs in The Hague. He's a war criminal who has been charged by the International Criminal Court. And what you will find is that is an opinion that is held by many purely because of what his actions have wrought over these last many years. I've also said that I will follow the laws that we have here in New York City because I believe that there's an importance in following the law as a leader who presides over our city. Whatever the law allows me to do in New York City, that's what we will do, but we won't be writing our own laws to that end.
All right, Josh, I'm a little confused by that only because he's saying that Bibi is a criminal. My impression, based on his visit last week at Rikers Island with, inmates, that he liked criminals, that he likes to cozy up to criminals. So maybe some mixed messaging there from Mayor Mamdani, but what do you think of all that?
Well, it's hard to know where to begin with this one, Mark. First of all, the United States has not authorized the Rome Statute, which is the treaty that the rest of the world, or not the rest of the world, but a lot of other countries have signed to bring the ICC into their jurisdiction. So both the United States and Israel, for that matter, neither country has signed the Rome Statute. So the ICC has no jurisdiction whatsoever here on American soil. The ICC is a total kangaroo court unto itself. I actually brought on Eugene Kontorovich, a great international legal expert, on my show, Josh Hammer Show, last week to talk about it. Marco Rubio last week declared war on the ICC. He said the United States will work with like-minded countries to dismantle it because it is a rogues gallery court. It is a court that ironically, contrary to its name, does the bidding of the world's tyrants. They have never sought out to arrest people like Vladimir Putin or Kim Jong-un. Rather, they just try to arrest people like Bibi Netanyahu. Now, on the actual law itself, the U.S. ambassador to the UN, Mike Waltz, had a really helpful post over the weekend on X laying out all the reasons why this never in a million years will possibly succeed. First of all, Congress has passed a law that says that there is blanket immunity for those who travel to New York City for purposes of going to the United Nations, which by the way, means that even if there's an actual international terrorist, even someone like Bashar al-Assad, for instance, if he were to come here to New York City trying to go to the United Nations, we actually could not arrest him. So the same standard surely would apply in this case to a rogues gallery court trying to arrest Netanyahu. The most obvious thing, though, is that whatever Mamdani wishes to be the case doesn't really matter because, dude, you're the mayor of a city, and it happens to be like a large city, but you don't get to weigh in or to act on foreign policy, geopolitical questions. That is the terrain of Congress and the federal government. But ultimately, none of this, Mark, as you know, is actually about the law. It's all about a stunt. This is a stunt. It is a pure PR stunt move by Zohar Mamdani, just trying to burnish his anti-Israel, anti-Bibi credentials before his DSA base. Mamdani's having a moment. He's now the kingmaker in the DSA.
He is.
You could argue he's the kingmaker of the whole Democratic Party, which frankly says a lot as to where they're at these days. So he's just trying to burnish his credentials, and ultimately this is really about nothing more than that, I would say.
Some people are, by the way, on the DSA stuff, we have our own candidate here in Cori Bush who's trying to weasel her way back into Congress, and you have to wonder if she might not be able to do that just based on what's happened in New York and some of these other states. Even Van Jones on CNN says,
I'm tired of people on the very far left in the Democratic Party, my party, telling us that in order for progressives, we now have to believe ideas and support ideas that are completely nuts. These are terrible ideas. These are awful ideas. Where did these ideas even come from?
So Van Jones knows they're terrible ideas, but they seem to be latching on with some of the voters out there who are choosing these DSA candidates. And I know that you wrote a column, just about economics, and you worry about these younger people in what they think might be their future and why they are latching on to some of this stuff successfully when you got Bernie out there and AOC spreading the Communist Manifesto.
Socialism, Mark, is the deadliest ideology in the history of the human species. Like literally bar none. The estimated death toll for socialism / communism is estimated to be 100 million, potentially even or more. Most of that happening in the Soviet Union and really above all, ultimately in Mao's China, just over the course of the last century. It's really scary to see this sort of stuff making a comeback. This is not just college kids who have smoked a little too much pot and are riffing at 3 a.m. over the guitar and saying, "Oh, socialism, man, let's just share the." No, this is worse than that. This is the mayor of the nation's largest city, among others, who are pushing this thing into the mainstream. And don't just take it from me. I thought Bill Maher gave a fascinating interview with Jonathan Karl yesterday on ABC's This Week program, where he basically said, "Look, people are saying that this is not communism, it's quote-unquote just socialism, but," he says, "don't tell me that I can't see with my eyes." I mean, when you have people like Mamdani quoting the Communist Manifesto, this is scary stuff, and it's ultimately not just a nice policy disagreement about economic policy. We're talking here about totalitarianism and the various means that could be used to implement that. But that's where the party's at. I mean, the polling says that's where they're at. The recent Pew Gallup polling that I've seen on this shows that socialism has a much higher approval rating currently within the Democratic Party than capitalism. It's not even particularly close, by the way. So listen, you have Ken Martin, who's the DNC chair. You have Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, whatever remains of the Democrat establishment. I guess some of them are trying to push back against this. Van Jones is now the establishment, I guess.
I know, that's shocking.
Right. But, I mean, whatever remains of the establishment, they're pushing back against this. But it's not going to work because the young people are on the side of socialism and all the momentum is on their side as well. So I hate to say it because I'd rather America's left center party not be totally off the walls, backcrap crazy. But I do predict that the Democrats will be a broadly socialist party potentially as soon as the turn of this decade, 2030. But at least
it's
for the
happening.
Next 15 years.
Yeah, it is rolling for sure. Josh Hammer with us, Newsweek senior editor at large. What did you think of the president's nationwide address last week? I mean, as I headed into Friday, did my Friday show and spent the weekend, I don't hear anyone really talking about that. Even a lot of the pundits online, I was a little confused by it. But what was your I mean, look, if there's election, malfeasance going on, we should root that out. But relitigating the 2020 election is not something I think the American people, nor am I, interested in.
So I thought it was fascinating that Donald Trump did not actually literally talk about the 2020 election. In mild fairness, he talked a lot about how the Chinese have gotten our voter data. He didn't actually do the whole, overnight 4 a.m. ballot drop in Michigan. There was, I thought there might have been some of that. There actually wasn't any of that in his defense. Listen, there was some important stuff in the speech. I think the fact that between 200,000 and 300,000 illegal aliens are currently on voter rolls, I thought that was definitely a bit of an eye-opener, and I did not realize that it was quite
it's a big number.
That high.
Yeah.
It's a massive number. I think that the speech, Mark, can easily be understood as a Hail Mary play when it comes to trying to get the Save America Act passed. That's what this was. This is a speech that was gearing up for the admittedly somewhat terse conclusion, which was a strong push to get the Save America Act passed. And it shows you that Trump is actually really serious about this. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but this is not just an idle-brained tweet or a true social post. He's actually really serious about this bill getting passed. Look, rightly or wrongly, your mileage may vary. Donald Trump is without question convinced that there is rampant voter fraud in this country and that he was denied the 2020 election, which was rightfully his. And again, you can love that, you can hate that, but he is absolutely convinced of it. And I think that some of what was unveiled supports that thesis. What I will say, though, Mark, is I was hoping that he might use this address to actually talk a little bit more about the Iran war, to be honest with you, because I've been saying for months on my show that this is overdue. We are overdue to hear from the commander-in-chief what exactly are we doing, what exactly are the war aims, and how can we discern that our job is done here and that we can declare victory and get out.
Yeah, I could not agree with you more on that. I'm going to talk a little bit more with Jacob Olidort on that in just a couple of minutes. But Josh, thank you so much. By the way, just a curious question. I'm just kind of taking the temperature in case people have seen it. Did you go to see The Odyssey, and are you if you didn't?
I have not, but it's funny, Mark. I actually was asked my wife about an hour ago if we can get a babysitter tomorrow night for a date night to go see it. I'm a huge Christopher Nolan fan, and I want to see this movie for myself. I heard a lot of mixed thoughts, but I look forward to seeing it.
Yeah, that's where I am, too. So, I want to see it in 70 millimeters, so I'm going to do that. And I missed the screening last week. Josh, always great. The Josh Hammer Show, 1 p.m. Saturday afternoon. It's 97.1 FM Talk. We'll talk soon. Thank you.
Take care, Mark.
All right.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
There is an accident eastbound 70 east of Warrenton before Wright City, and it has caused a jam back to Warrenton. Now, westbound 64, slowing Clayton Skinker out through McCausland. It's lining up at Lake St. Louis Boulevard out through 70. 70 westbound, moderate volume at K, and southbound 270, a little slow at the Clayton Road overpass and again at Gravois, and then things open up. Now, on the Illinois side, we've got Route 3 jammed at Monsanto Avenue, and that, of course, is all due to a slow-moving train. They go back and forth. Traffic brought to you by Bahr Mirror Glass and Door. We'd like to congratulate them on their 50-year anniversary. You don't stay in business that long by not supplying quality products and outstanding service. The key, they say, is their experienced staff. Contact Bahr Mirror Glass and Door today and let them show you why 50 years is just the beginning. I'm Sue Thomas with Traffic, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I want to guide you into some really, really expert and experienced legal help if you feel like you're toward the end of your marriage and divorce is in the picture. Now, this is not only for the end of the marriage. I'll explain that in a second. But if you need great legal help, but you need it here in St. Louis and you don't know where to turn, well, I have the perfect answer, and that's stlfamilylaw.com. Susan L. Ward, who is a great sponsor and has been for a long time of 97.1 FM Talk. She's an expert in this field with decades of experience in family law, and that's divorce, children's issues, domestic partnerships, things that happen in the aftermath of divorce, modifications on child support or spousal support, all those things. Sometimes circumstances change. The law is very specific. The law in Illinois very different than in Missouri, and there's even been some changes to the law when it relates to situations like this. In fact, Susan, on her website at stlfamilylaw.com, they have an awesome blog section where they kind of keep on top of those particular issues. But first and foremost, if you need her help, reach out, and reach out as soon as you think you need help, because that's going to prevent you from making mistakes. 314-783-9400, the website, stlfamilylaw.com. Beautiful office. They've been in for about a year in De Pere at Manchester and 270. Tell Susan that we sent you along.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Bahr Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is, who do you hire? At Bahr, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call or visit BahrConstruction.com and have a banner day.
When Donald Trump needs conservative votes to help pass his agenda for Missouri, Representative Tricia Burns never answers the call. Tricia Burns has missed 370 votes. Burns is bucking President Trump's priorities. Burns did not vote to stop DEI initiatives, prevent China from owning Missouri land, defund Planned Parenthood, and Burns did not vote to ban boys from girls' sports. Tricia Burns not showing up for Missouri and President Trump. Instead, Tricia Burns spends her time pulling pranks on the suicide prevention hotline. Yes, you heard that right. Tricia Burns lied to the police and staged a fake suicide emergency. She sent a series of messages to the hotline and said she, quote, had a gun to her head, end quote. When she got caught, she said there'd be no consequences because she's a politician. By August 4th, vote to show Tricia Burns that there are consequences to being bad at your job. Cut the Bullpack paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidate committee.
Men, are you just not feeling it? Could be your testosterone. U.S. Men's Medical Center in St. Peters helps men experiencing loss of energy, focus, concentration, and low libido. Check out the testimonials at usmensmedicalcenter.com. Patients are excited about feeling great, having energy, improved libido. Plus, they love the staff and the fact that they accept all insurance, including Medicare. Call U.S. Men's Medical Center at 636-244-5333. usmensmedicalcenter.com.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
And this portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly, heating, air conditioning, electrical, and plumbing.
250 years of capitalism, private ownership, and rugged individualism. America 250 on 97.1 FM Talk. Sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
Well, look, lots of questions. You know, we touched on this with Josh Hammer about the situation in Iran, and we're going to find out here from Jacob Olidort where he thinks this is heading, but I want to play a little bit of Marco Rubio because this is what the Secretary of State says.
I also think it's pretty growing apparent that even within their own system, there's a growing split. I think maybe some of your outlets have documented this. Between those that understand that their economy is in shambles and they need to do something, or they're going to be in a lot of trouble very soon, economically, domestically, and others who are very militant in their view of life and in their view of the world and continue to launch missiles. So they'll have to work out that split internally. We're going to continue to respond. If the door opens to diplomacy, if the guys that want to do something productive for Iran win and take control of that system or take control of the negotiations, that'll be a very positive development. That's not where we are tonight.
Okay, meantime, we have, American troops that unfortunately have been killed.
Those great people, those great patriots are out there fighting that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. But we hit them very hard again tonight, and we did that in honor of the probably three as opposed to two great patriots.
So Jacob Olidort back with us, Chief Research Officer and Director of American Security at the American First Policy Institute. Jacob, welcome back. How are you this afternoon?
Great to be with you. Doing well. How are you?
I'm good, but I'm confused. Like when the Secretary of State talks about doors opening to, diplomacy, I thought that door was open several weeks ago when they had the memo of understanding, which seemingly has not held together at all. So are we getting mixed messaging from the administration?
Well, not at all. No, this is all consistent, and it's great to be with you and your listeners. Obviously, this is a big escalation by the Iranian regime over the last few weeks. But at the end of the day, what we're doing right now, what the United States is doing, is something transformational for a generation. I mean, this is ending really an architecture 5 decades in the making of creating terror against the United States and against innocents around the world. And so that's a process, and diplomacy is always the first option, but it never comes at the expense of obviously military pressure, economic pressure. And that's what we're seeing take place right now.
So I think some people might be confused because, look, we're striking them pretty hard. And, one of my reactions, I've heard this out there from other people too, is like, how much harder can we strike them? I mean, how can we still be in a situation where militarily we're still inflicting more and more pain when we've hit so many targets in the first place? I know it's a big country. Maybe that's part of it. What would your answer be on that, Jacob?
Well, there are a number of – it's a good question, and obviously there are still targets we can hit. Some of the critical infrastructure, for example, that has been discussed, which would be fair game given how the regime uses it for its military means. But it's a higher question as well as what kind of pressure actually imposes pain and costs on the regime. Some of that, I think, as the Secretary of State alluded, is a little bit of a wait-and-see mode to see which of the wings within their echelons prevails and letting them kind of fight among themselves over it. Another piece of it is looking around the region at pressure points. And so I think as part of that, the Lebanon diplomacy has been very important. The arrival of the Prime Minister of Iraq in Washington last week was another important point. These, I think, if we focus more intensely on each of these areas outside of Iran's borders, I think actually that could apply even more direct pressure on the regime. But of course, maintaining that military pressure directly as well, and the naval blockade are part of that. So it's a multi-front effort.
But do you have any sense of who the different players are inside Iran that we might be dealing with? Are there factions that have become clear, or is that sort of still a mystery?
They generally are clear. I mean, and what it is look, you've had this competition for several years between the Foreign Ministry and the IRGC. But right now, it's effectively the IRGC that's in a dominant position there, which has been pretty skeptical of negotiations. They are, I think, increasingly calling the shots, literally and figuratively there. But then you also have the Foreign Ministry types that have always preferred that diplomatic approach. All that being said, the intentions are the same. It's just the tactics. But I do think right now, they're kind of in an unprecedented situation of leadership vacuum and having to sort it out from themselves, which, it's not the worst thing to have our enemies in a state of chaos like that.
How do you react? I mean, Kuwait was hit, and they say one of its power and water, desalination plants were attacked for the second time in 2 days. And obviously, we're hitting some of the Iranian infrastructure right now. But one of the things that they said is that even though their power grid is stable, in Kuwait, about 90% of that water comes from the desalination. I think I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. I think I got it right the second time. So thoughts on that? I mean, there has to be a response. You can't let that keep happening, right?
Absolutely. And look, and Kuwait in particular obviously knows this very well. I mean, having suffered the Iran-Iraq War and the invasion of Iraq several decades ago, I think that's all exactly right. And I think the longer this continues, the more aligned all of our regional and global allies will be in wanting to stand up for, against the regime. I think, how Kuwait will respond is one thing to watch. I mean, it's noteworthy that the UK in the last 2 weeks finally came around to designating the IRGC as a terror organization. I mean, it's small fries in one sense, but it's, I think it's a sign that there is a consensus forming, and I think that's part of what we're doing here. We don't want to take full ownership, nor should we, over what happens in this vast, country and the day after. But building that coalition to plan for that, I think that is part of the intent here, and that takes time.
You know, it's interesting. Jacob Olidort is here. I feel like I learned a lot, and I hopefully the audience learns a lot from conversations with you about this. But I still think there's a sense, and I talked about this a little bit in the previous segment with my friend Josh Hammer, that, you know, the president needs to go out there and make a stronger case for what we're doing. We thought we might get some of that on Thursday night. But, Jacob, it seems like you and some other folks, and I have Jim Talon on here quite a bit, make a better case for this and explain it better than the president does. And that leaves, look, it's hard enough for me to understand geopolitics, but most people, what they see are gas prices, right?
No, it's a fair point. And look, there is real pain to American families at the pump, but I think there's a broader context here. And I think the president's been doing a fantastic job at explaining it. I think you're right. There are several factors going on right now. But I do think, you know, one thing we can always go back to is his own instinct and record, really, on Iran, not just the many decades as a civilian, but also obviously in the first term and Soleimani, the actions he took. So I think that's consistent. The other piece is kind of how we think about the future. And here, you know, what I go back to is, look, this waterway has been under attack for many decades by Iran. So it's right to focus on the pain in the present, the gas pump, but that pain has been there all along in some form, given the risk by the regime. What's actually going to happen here, once the regime is no longer able to threaten this waterway, well, I mean, companies, insurers will be able to look at this and say, look, it's a different risk landscape than we're used to. There might actually be a higher degree of confidence and stability in this part of the world. I don't want to talk about the exact price of gas. I know there's a little bit, you know, it's a bit of an art there, but I'm very confident in terms of the stability that we're going to see because of this. And I think that alone is the context for patience and, you know, really letting us take the time we need to do the job to its conclusion.
Well, and I think part of it is finishing the job. Now, if we would have gone back, I'll ask this as a final question. We'd go back a month to June 20th, and I don't even know if that was around the time that the Memorandum of the Understanding came out. But if I were to have asked you or anyone else, or just to kind of, you know, look into the crystal ball on July 20th, are we still going to be in this thing the way we are? Will we have finished the job? Well, the answer is no. So if we look ahead another month, because one of the concerns that I think a lot of people have, including me, is that this thing, you know, the timetable is getting way, way stretched out from what the expectations were. So how do you finish the job? I think that's really what people want to know.
Right. Well, it's a good question, and it sounds abstract. It's very concrete and specific. And what that means is, look, eliminating Iran's ability to threaten Americans through its military, infrastructure. So that's part one. And part two, I think, is ensuring we have that coalition in place. Now, that takes time. And I think the surprise for the United States is that our European allies that have always been hand in hand with us in every military engagement are completely sitting out this one. That puts more of a burden on us and other partners. But I think there's a lot to be hopeful for. You have Israel, you have the UAE, you have other countries stepping up against this threat, coming together. I think that's kind of the picture we have to look at as far as the future. And really, that is the America First model of burden sharing, making our partners take ownership for the security and prosperity of their own regions so that Americans don't need to worry about it.
Great conversation, Jacob, as always. Really appreciate it. Thanks for coming on this afternoon. All right, take care.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
If you are westbound on 6440, we just had a report of an accident approaching Clayton Skinker, so just past Hampton. And it's created a jam that is stretching closer and closer to Kings Highway. That is the biggest problem on 64. Now, 70 westbound looks fine. That's your best bet. It's a little slow at Wentzville, but they've cleared the accident eastbound east of Warrenton, so things are improving there. Now, eastbound 44 is slow at 270. Southbound 55 a little slow south of Highway M. And on the Illinois side, 64 eastbound, slow approaching 159, and westbound 5570 slow approaching 111. That is all due to road work. This report brought to you by the Diamond Shop. The Diamond Shop, making St. Louis sparkle for over 100 years. Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
We had a fire station in St. Louis that had an American flag that was upside down outside. That's been reported by Libs of TikTok. We'll find out if there's something to that coming up here in just a couple of minutes on 97.1 FM Talk. Let me guide you into some great flooring expertise. I want to talk about the products and the expertise that they have at Michael's Flooring Outlet, because the depth of knowledge that they have in the team members that Mike has put together and the array and the assortment of products really is quite something. It can be overwhelming. How do you pick the right, flooring? How do you pick the right flooring for your lifestyle? Waterproof, pet-proof, easy to clean. What are you going to do with carpeting? Everyone kind of trends toward hard flooring. Some people still like silky soft carpeting from Mohawk, which is very stain resistant. You can still get that. They can guide you into that at Michael's Flooring Outlet. But if you're looking for hard flooring, if you're looking for any kind of project where you just don't know exactly what to do in a room, call in the experts at Michael's. 3 great locations, Old Town St. Peter's, in Darden Prairie, and in West County on Olive, and have them go to work on some suggestions. Take some samples home from the store, or you can do that even online at igotfloor.com. 3 great locations open every day, except for Sunday, Michael's Flooring Outlet.
This is Jimmy Fallon from Fox Across America. One reason you should support America 250 is our country's now the same age as Nancy Pelosi. Happy birthday, America 250, you fine thing, you.
America 250 is sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
It's Mark Cox. Celebrate the month of July with Zero Res. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $129 and get your air ducts cleaned for $5.99 per unit. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of the savings.
I'm Attorney General Catherine Hanaway, and I want to welcome you to Missouri for the Matches. We are on alert for human trafficking. It's often in plain sight. It's people who seem isolated, controlled, or who don't have their ID or money. To share a tip, download the Simply Report app or call 1-833-5-BE-SAFE. We need your help to stop human trafficking.
Sponsored by the Missouri Attorney General's Office.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Mark Reardon, Sue Thomas. This is the Mark Reardon Show.
This is one of those strange situations, and I always am very skeptical when I see things, even from websites or from outlets that I trust. But there was something that had gone around over the weekend about a flag that was hung upside down at a fire station here in St. Louis. Now, my first reaction to that is no way. That's not something that would have happened, because of all places, like, why would you do that at a fire station? So Libs of TikTok goes out there, and they've been outing this. They do this a lot, and I think a lot of you are familiar with what they do on TikTok and on Twitter, but they've been updating people throughout the weekend. So you said you might have heard about this a little bit this morning, right?
I thought so.
Yeah. So, the first thing that they did on that site, which has, let me see here, because I'm on there right now. They have almost 5 million followers. Okay, it's like 4.7 million followers on that website, and they post a lot, so I'm going to have to page down here. But the first thing they did is they posted the picture of the fire station that said, hey, is this what's going on here in St. Louis? So then that takes off, and people start responding to that. And then again, the first question is, well, is it real? Is it something that really happened? And then they did an update. So the first one literally said, fire station in St. Louis, Missouri, flying the American flag upside down, absolutely disgraceful. Fix this ASAP at STL Fire Department. So then there's an update from the fire department. The only local outlet that I think has done a story on this is KSDK, and I'll get to that here in a second. So the official X account for the St. Louis Fire Department says the St. Louis Fire Department is aware of an American flag that was displayed upside down at one of our fire stations. The flag was corrected immediately after the matter was brought to our attention. An administrative investigation has been initiated to determine the circumstances surrounding the incident. We have the utmost respect for the American flag and the values it represents. We take this matter seriously, and they should take it seriously.
Well, yeah.
But again, it doesn't make any sense that it happened. Like, did someone inside the fire station do that, or did someone outside of the fire station?
Oh, well, that's
do that?
actually a good point.
Well, right. So
yeah.
the KSDK story, and again, I don't think that anyone else has done this outside of some of the national outlets that are posting this or spreading the word about it. Channel 5 story says the St. Louis Fire Department has launched an administrative investigation after American flag was flown upside down. Really, they're not telling you anything more than the tweet said, right? Basically, you know, an investigation into circumstances is underway, and then they kind of go into the flag code where American flag should never be displayed upside down, except as a signal of dire distress in instances of extreme danger to life or property. So, but more often, let's face it, people use that as protest. So was it a protest? Was it an accident? Was it someone that vandalized it? I think, you know, that's something that we certainly would want to find out. Let me play just a couple of pieces of audio. I'll probably get into this maybe in 2 hours with audio cut of the day, but Josh Hammer responded to this and said something earlier in the hour. And, you know, we're talking a lot about these DSA candidates, of which we have one here in St. Louis with Cori Bush, thoroughly and you know, emphatically endorsed by the Democrat Socialists of America. So, you know, I think people who listen know I'm a fan of Bill Maher, and, you know, I've used him quite a bit when it comes to audio cut of the day. If I had some sort of power rankings for audio cut of the day, Trump would have it, no doubt. I mean, there's no one that's going to ever exceed over the course of these last 10 years being audio cut of the day. There should be some sort of trophy involved. I think.
Yeah.
But Bill Maher's up there with a number of them because he's just a common sense guy. And I might not agree with him on everything, but I always kind of mention this. Interestingly enough, the Reardon Roundtable was actually fashioned and modeled after his show in the 1990s, which was called Politically Incorrect. So he inspired me because he would have conversations with people of different political stripes even back then. And he's not afraid to share his opinions even when they're not popular. So he goes on, whose podcast was, I think Jonathan Karl did one of these interviews, and I think maybe he was talking with Rogan on one of the other ones. Anyway, he's talking about the DSA.
Every day I read about a new person in some Colorado and Wisconsin, somebody who is saying some variation of not defund the police, abolish the police. No prisons, no police. Like, what world do they think we could possibly live in under these conditions?
Yes, so that's still the stuff that they're spreading out there. And, you know, these Democrat socialist candidates are getting a lot of attention. They're getting people to vote for them. It seems that the only person on the Democrat side of the aisle who's taking a stand against this and raising the issue and saying, what are you thinking, is John Fetterman.
Of course.
And then he's also threatening, look, there's a, you know, he's talking about a dividing line there with Israel, a red line that can't be crossed as well, and then he may become a Republican, which would be interesting. But even Bill Maher says, look, my vote is in play.
You told J.D. Vance you're open, your vote is up for grabs.
Yes, my vote is in play because it can't be Trump running. Mm-hmm. So I'm not living in communist America. I mean, I know the talking point is that, well, it's not communism, it's socialism. Okay, I've read the quotes from the DSA platform, from their own mouths. Don't tell me I'm not seeing what I am seeing.
Thank you.
And DSA, again, they say things like, you know, takeover of key industries, government. That's communism.
Yeah, it is communism. And Bill's calling it exactly what it is. Now, listen to this. This is great. And I give Fox credit. I guess the people from these organizations want to go on and spread their nonsense. This guy doesn't sound very smart, but he's on with Martha McCallum talking about landlords in New York City, okay?
Landlords in New York have been making a 12% return on their investment on average.
How much should they make? What's fair for the landlord to make if you don't like 12?
They're complaining that 12 is not enough. And we don't think that anyone should have a constitutional right to double-digit returns on their investment. That's why we've implemented...
No one should have a right to a double-digit return on their investment.
No one has a right. That's not... No,
what are you talking about?
No one's in that... That's not in the Constitution, but what we see is that when we implement a rent freeze, we have landlords who are crying that the government is going to put them out of business.
Okay. They're trying, you know, look, I've been a landlord, okay? And one thing that was important to me as a landlord is that the mortgage was covered.
Yes.
I was able to cash flow a little bit, and I had some pretty good tenants. I was very lucky. It was just my home in the city. I don't know if it was 12% or whatever it was, but that's unreal. Look, the guy was caught in a position where he didn't even know how to answer the questions.
Well, these people don't actually know anything.
But that's what they want.
Yes.
And there are this is what's dangerous about this. You can kind of write this off as just something that's fringe in the Democrat Party.
It's not.
It's not. And that's what I think Bill Maher is onto. Listen to Bernie. He's rattling off all the victories.
Within the last year, we have won mayor's races in New York City. Zoran Madani. We've won mayor's races in Seattle, Washington, D.C. We have won congressional elections and Democratic primaries in Arizona, Ohio, Pennsylvania, California, Montana, Colorado, New Jersey, and New York.
And will Missouri be the next one with Cori Bush 2 weeks from tomorrow? I think that's a legitimate question. We'll take a break here at the top of the hour. When we return, I do want to talk about the Odyssey just a little bit because the numbers were really incredible and it kind of overcame the woke label. Do you eat kale, Sue?
Sometimes.
Okay, I got a question about kale that I'm going to, kind of give to the crew here after the top of the hour. And then a real interesting story about a guy that bought a house sight unseen and discovered something. Have you had, you do real estate, have you had clients that have done that?
What?
Buy a house on sight unseen.
I've only had it happen once on the internet.
I have a friend who did it. I thought he was nuts, but it was in a very competitive, market about, 10 years ago. And he wanted the house, and it turned out well. But this one's a little different. I'll share that coming up after Fox News.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
I knew a guy who did that and hadn't shown his wife first. Bad planning.
That sounds like bad planning for sure.
On the roads, there was an accident westbound 6440 past Hampton. And I'm trying to see what lane is blocked. It's either the right or the left. It's difficult to see, but we've got a jam behind it. It's not the center lanes. So helpful. Look for a jam that goes back through Kings Highway. Now, westbound 70 out of downtown is fine. And out west, it's 70 a little slow at Wentzville, 64 at Prospect. And southbound 270, a little moderate volume now. At Ladue Road in the construction zone, there's a jam on the Illinois side, westbound 5570 approaching 111 and approaching 64, and 64 eastbound slows approaching 159. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Sponsored by Gloria Liu with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Liu. Yes, Gloria Liu with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
Hey, I want to talk about the Retirement Advisory Group and some of the great things that they can do for you here in St. Louis. If you're someone who doesn't really know exactly what's going on with your retirement, I think it's pretty common that people don't even, open up their 401k statements, and then they might be a little surprised. So we have a great event coming up. We do these. We've been promoting them throughout the year. 5 events with Thomas Helbig, his nephew, Bob Kershaw. Bob and Tammy pretty much running the operation. Tammy is Bob's wife, and they're going to get together with Mark and Annie and I on Tuesday the 11th. So that's 3 weeks from tomorrow. It's a week after the election at the Doubletree in Chesterfield off of Swingley Ridge Road. If you're 59 and a half or older, it might be a real important meeting for you to be at. You can do things with your 401k and roll that into a plan that's going to save you a lot of money with taxes. The whole goal is to give you a worry-free retirement. If you're stressed about this, it's a great opportunity. Register today. Go to retirementkey.com. We'd love to see you on August 11th in Chesterfield. If you don't want to be in the group setting, you can go one-on-one into the office, and you can set that up at retirementkey.com. All these seminars are free. You just have to register. We just need to know that you're coming. retirementkey.com.
If this is the year you're going to upgrade your backyard, call Chesterfield Fence and Deck. It's Mark Cox here. ChesterfieldFence.com is the easy website for you to get to. You go there, they're going to give you a free in-home estimate. They're going to give you free project design. And right now, when you mention my name, they will give you 48 months same as cash financing. Think about that. You get the job done now. You take your time paying for it. You don't pay any penalties and interest. You just get your backyard looking great. It doesn't matter what you're looking for. Of course, they do wood fences and decks. They can do the composite decks that are basically maintenance-free, and they can do that for the fencing as well. But maybe you've got something bigger in mind. Maybe you're going to put in a sunroom. You're going to put in an all-season room, maybe a pergola in the backyard or a new fireplace. You can trust my friends at Chesterfield Fence. They've been doing this since 1968. They take a lot of pride in what they do. Check out their reviews online. Tell them Mark sent you. Go to chesterfieldfence.com. Gentlemen, Mark Cox here. When's the last time you actually felt like yourself? Victory Men's Health specializes in hormone optimization, sexual health, weight loss, and longevity. It's built for everyday men who just want to feel better and perform their best. They already have offices in Town and Country, Sunset Hills, O'Fallon, Missouri, and O'Fallon, Illinois. They're about to open a new location in Glen Carbon very soon. It's a higher standard of care just waiting for you. Learn more at victorymenshealth.com.
Can't get enough 97.1? Follow us on socials. Facebook, X, Instagram at 97.1 FM Talk, and YouTube at 97.1 FM Talk STL. 97.1 FM Talk. Let's connect.
Monday edition of Sue's News is just around the corner on 97.1 FM Talk.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
A 10th night of strikes on Iran. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. CENTCOM just confirming a new round of U.S. strikes aimed at further degrading Iran's military capabilities used to attack commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. Fox's Steve Harrigan in Tel Aviv.
Iran, in the meantime, continues to attack U.S. partners in the region, launching assaults against Kuwait and Bahrain as well. This as Iranian officials continue to present a public air of defiance. Here's the foreign minister.
You can neither threaten us nor bribe us.
An Iranian missile attack killing at least 2 U.S. service members Friday in Jordan, where a third American was unaccounted for and remains were found. A fourth service member killed in Iraq as a downed Iranian drone was being detonated. President Trump posting before today's U.S. strikes that every time Iran kills an American soldier, they'll pay many times over. Federal investigators call the man accused of setting a fire outside a federal building in New York City earlier today an anti-American, anti-government extremist who made anti-ICE statements.
26 Federal Plaza has long been a target of extremists, of terrorists, and today the extremism was brought here.
FBI Assistant Director in charge James Barnacle says the suspect in custody, Andrew Arabaka, is an Army veteran who had multiple weapons. There were 3 minor injuries. South Carolina Senator Darlene Graham, recently appointed to serve the rest of her late brother Lindsey Graham's term, does plan to seek a full term of her own, telling Fox's Sean Hannity she has an inner peace about it.
Will it be difficult? Yes, absolutely.
So you're inclined to get in, or have you even made a final decision?
I've made a decision.
You're in.
I'm in.
That interview airs at 9 Eastern tonight on Hannity. Several other Republicans have said they're running in an August special election. Tomorrow is the first day to file. America is listening to Fox News.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids Max Strength. Its dual-active formula has 1,500 milligrams of calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaids spells powerful relief. 1,500 milligrams is our highest amount of antacid per tablet. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Here's the tale of the daily med fill. Same old pharmacy, same old bill, but those prices kept rising higher still.
Till the savings wrangler rode in, cool as can be. Tap Good RX, saving massively.
No plan? Don't matter none. Up to 80% off. The deals are done.
Discounts hitting harder than Ma's chili. Dang. That one little app does all the rest.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
Check Good RX. Good RX is not...
Summertime is alive and well this evening, hanging around 90 degrees, clear, warm, and humid overnight. The overnight low, only 78. Tuesday, partly sunny, hot, and humid, but a cool front is on the way. Couple of spot thunderstorms. I don't see a lot of thunderstorm action. 95 for the high. Winds are out of the north come Tuesday evening. Tuesday night, partly cloudy. Nothing more than some spot evening thunderstorms. 71. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Monday afternoon with very, very warm conditions throughout the region. The good news, that's not going to last very long, but the bad news is...
It's so damn hot. Milk was a bad choice.
I mentioned I watched the, it's called the Hawk, what is it called? I don't know, the Will Ferrell Netflix golf show.
How was that?
I thought it was very average.
Yeah,
Like, I like Stick better. Stick was the one that was with not Owen Wilson. Yeah, Owen Wilson.
It's not getting well reviewed.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, but so then I watched that other show that Paul Hall was talking about on Friday, Lucky, which is on Apple TV Plus, and they've only released 2 episodes of that. And I wasn't that impressed with that. It was just like a big chase scene in the first 2 episodes. So I have a disconnect.
When do you do your most watching?
Early evenings. Like if Becky and I are watching something together, then that's, when we'll do it. We're kind of wrapping this, I think it was HBO Max show with Jennifer Garner. I keep saying Jennifer Aniston, but it's Jennifer Garner. The Last Thing He Told Me. It's not that great, but we're kind of into it, and we're almost wrapping that up.
I read that book.
Yeah, that was a book.
Yeah.
Yep. Remember we talked about, I think, the first season, and I thought the first season was okay. It's okay. Again, it's not something. I'm looking for something right now because I'm not watching anything that's really, captivating. Now, let me go to the Odyssey real quick because a week ago today I'm still on the list for the critics screenings because I did so much here in St. Louis with movies over the years, and a lot of media members have an opportunity because they're spoiled to see things before they're released. They're not doing as many of these screenings as they used to because the studios have cut back. But I had a choice a week ago to go to the Odyssey, and I remember what I told you. I'm like, man, I better do it because I'm worried that I'm not going to go see it, and I want to see it in 70 millimeter. So as it turned out, last Monday I was like, I don't want to sit in the theater for 3 hours, and it was the Home Run Derby, right? So I didn't go last Monday. Now I've heard back and forth.
On that one.
Well, that's right. I did. I felt pretty good about that.
Yeah.
Actually, I do feel real good. So over the weekend, I'm like, man, how can I see this movie? Because you need 3.5 hours. Essentially, if you work in the travel, right?
You really do.
And the only place to see it on the IMAX is Ronnie's. So I start going online and looking for maybe even like a Sunday evening last night after the World Cup screening. Nope, only the first 2 rows near the screen.
Oh.
Then I start going, well, maybe what if I would sneak in something like at 10:45 in the morning because that's the earliest one that they have. I'm like 11, 12, that'll push it a little bit. Fred's doing the math right now. I'm like, no, I don't like that at all. So I'm looking, but even on those for this coming week, I'm on, and I got to just say this too. I try to use the Marcus Theaters website. It never works for me. I have no idea why. I can never buy tickets, so I use Fandango. So I go to Fandango. I'm looking around. You can do this on the Marcus site too. So I'm looking at seats because I'm not sitting in the first 2 rows at the IMAX, right? No. And I mean, screening after screening after screening is full. So next week, I'm thinking, all right, Saturday, Sunday next week, what can I do? I'm like, oh, Jennings and Joe are coming in for baseball. So, again, you got people coming in from out of town, Sunday afternoon baseball game. I got a Saturday night baseball game. I got a friend in town Friday who's in a band called the Young Dubliners. They're going to play the Wildly up in Edwardsville. So I have a pretty loaded weekend. I'm like, I don't think I can do a movie, and I'm talking to Becky about it. So I fast forward, and I actually buy tickets for August 1st, which is a Saturday, so it would have been 2 weeks ago this past Saturday, so it's a week from this Saturday, and that's like a 1:15 showing. Now, there must contractually be something in there because it is not leaving the IMAX. It's going to be there. You can go out and buy tickets for like 3 or 4 weeks from now.
It must be selling well.
Right. It is. I mean, I'm just telling you, and people want to see it. If you're educated as a movie fan, you want to see this in 70 millimeter because that's the experience that Christopher Nolan wants you to have. So right now, I have a pair of tickets for Saturday, August 1st, which is kind of weird. And my good friend Rick Niner out in Las Vegas, who I visit all the time, he went last night. And it's funny, Fred, I don't know if you know this because you've gotten to know Rick just a little bit, but the whole origin story, not that really people care too much, of me being a film critic part-time goes back to Rick and I's relationship in high school where we were like Siskel and Ebert. We liked to go to movies and we would argue about the movies, and we loved artsy movies, which a lot of people, when they were that age might not have. And then, I was dumb enough one time in Columbia, Missouri, say, hey, can I review movies? And they said yes, right? So we love to have, to this day, conversations about movies. We're both kind of on the same page, and maybe this is a demographic thing where there's just not a lot of movies that are doing it for me these days. And I kind of got worn out in the days before I kind of called the critic thing off because it's just all this social justice stuff, and just give me a movie that's entertaining. Like Project Hail Mary, I would put in that category. So he saw it last night, and I asked him, I'm like, so? He goes, I'm not saying a word until you see it. I'm like, okay,
Smart.
Fair enough. So I know he has opinions of it. And, I'm hearing mixed. Here's what I would say. Sasha Stone, who I like quite a bit, Sasha's the one who created Awards Daily, and she was a very big, influential person, and very liberal in Hollywood. And she's done a complete flip on a lot of this stuff. But she wrote a column today that I thought was on target because there were a lot of people, and I was very careful, by the way. There were a lot of people that were going after it because of the wokeness that may or may not have been there. And my position was, hey, you haven't seen the movie, so let's wait and see the movie. I saw a lot, and I mean a lot of conservatives out there over the weekend defending the Odyssey, saying whatever wokeness is a very small part of it, like Ellen Page, who's in it. I'm still going to call her Ellen. It's a very, very small role. You can pick around the edges, I think, at the, adaptation from the book to the screen. But most of the people that I trust, and the people that I know that still see movies on a regular basis, they liked it a lot. Now, I've also seen some people, and I think even Sasha's mom, she said that mom leaned over about halfway in and said, this is the worst movie I've ever seen. So it's never going to be something for everyone. Well, I mean, sometimes I think of my mom because I wouldn't tell my mom to go see The Odyssey, right?
No.
She likes mystery thrillers and crime and stuff like that. So sometimes you have to know what you're interested in. Like, if you're not a comic book movie guy, well, don't go see Black Panther, The Avengers, or some of these other things. But I'm going to see it. It's just going to take a couple of weeks, but I have to see it in the theater. I think I would be robbing myself if I would not do that. Okay, question for you, just while I'm going to toss this out here. So, I have my bunny Oreo, right? Mm-hmm. And Oreo eats greens. He has pellets, for food as well. He also has pellets that comes out the other end. That's a different kind of pellet. But one of the fun things about having the bunny is that we get him, feed him kale, and he loves cilantro, carrots, and broccoli. And he loves sugar. He's a sugar addict like me. He loves bananas and little cranberry things that you get at the bunny store. So one of the things that we get on a regular basis is kale. And I don't know that I've ever really made myself anything with kale at my house before, like a kale salad, stuff like that. I've had kale at restaurants, not super opposed to it. But when I buy it, typically I buy it, not the fresh stuff, and I go to Walmart, so this might be part of the issue, but they have a bag of it, and it's like $3, and it's a pretty big bag of kale, right?
Is it attached, or is it like
this is all
pieces?
shredded up,
Okay.
right? So if you get the fresh stuff, it's kind of attached to the stalks. This is just all the leafy stuff.
Okay.
All right, and that bag is usually fine. Oreo eats it. It does not have an odor to it, okay, until it gets a little old. So I accidentally yesterday bought the organic kale at Walmart. Now, one might argue, why are you buying organic stuff at Walmart? That's a very valid criticism and question, but it was an accident because maybe I didn't see the other one. Well, I opened it up, and it just smells awful. So my question is, is kale supposed to smell bad? Because I've done this before with the organic. And it just seems like it's just it smelled so bad that I threw it out. I got rid of it from my refrigerator.
No, if it smells bad, you should ditch it.
So then why are they selling? Because I'm telling you, this is not the first time. Wouldn't the organic seem to be a little bit better quality than the non-organic?
Well, all that really means is they don't use pesticides, and it's more expensive. So I'm guessing people at Walmart aren't buying it, and it sat there longer.
Well, you know what, Sue? There might be something to that.
There
really might be. It was funny because I don't even think I told my family this because I knew that they'd kind of freak out. We get these Dogtown pizzas from Walmart, like pepperoni. They're $6, right? And Alexa likes to have them. And every once in a while, if it's just one of those things you need to kind of, do quickly, okay, let's have pizza and a salad or something like that. So there was a point where I was looking, and I usually buy like 3 or 4 of them at a time because, they're $6. So there was a time, and I don't even know what inspired me to do this, that I looked at the Dogtown pizza expiration date. And I mean, it was well before the time that we were making the pizza and that we were getting the pizza from the Walmart. And this happened like a couple of different times. I'm like, man, this is I didn't care. I just made the damn pizza. It's frozen. I never told Becky or Alexa. Now, lately, I've seen more recent dates on it. But maybe there's something to that with the kale. I have no idea.
That's just a guess. When you say it smells bad, you mean kind of rotty?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that it's going bad.
Okay, so because here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to invest $3 more for this radio show because I care about you and Fred and Ethan and the audience so much. I'm going to buy a damn organic bag of kale.
Look
and
at
maybe
the
I'll
date.
even bring the other one in. And I'm going to have you guys experience this because That can't be something that someone wants to eat.
Well, there should
not
have
even
a
my
date.
bunny. By the way, he knows.
Yeah.
He's not stupid. He's like, no, I'm not eating that.
It's rotten.
Right.
So look at the date, and if it's
Okay.
like, if was it moist in there?
Yeah.
No, that's
Okay.
bad.
Now what do I do though?
Throw
I
it
can't
out?
well, yeah, but I can't take it back.
No.
Scott's my guy at that Walmart. He's the manager. He knows me now. So maybe I take it up with Scott.
How much was it?
It's 3 something.
Okay.
I don't know.
Suck it up.
Yeah, all right.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
There is an accident westbound 6440 just past Hampton, and it's blocking the left lane. Traffic is jammed behind it, but that pretty much is the worst of it. And the jam goes back past Kings Highway. Westbound 70, not too bad out of downtown. Westbound 64, that's slowing out of Prospect. And let's see, we've got 270 in pretty good shape. 55 has had a little bit of a slow pocket south of M, but right now it's looking okay. But on the Illinois side, 5570, especially westbound, but it's slow in both directions as you approach the 70-64 split. So look for slow-moving traffic there and on 64 eastbound between 157 and 159. This report brought to you by McKelvey Homes. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's Traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
McKelvey Homes is breaking ground on something new in O'Fallon, Strawberry Farms. When McKelvey builds something, they do it right. Visit McKelvey Homes to schedule a tour at Strawberry Farms in O'Fallon. Visit McKelveyHomes.com today and move up to McKelvey.
You know, I want to talk about Morelli tuck pointing, but let me just start with how I feel about John and Cindy and their family. They're just awesome people. I've said this over the years. One of the great things about my sponsors in meeting them and getting to know them and having them be loyal is they just have a great work ethic. They're very proud of what they do. John and Cindy have been doing this for a long time here. They're the masonry experts in St. Louis since 1991. Their daughter, Deanna, and her husband now work in the business, so family run and operated. And if you need any kind of tuck pointing work done, you get a free estimate, great pricing, 35-plus years of experience, the highest quality workmanship, and then customer satisfaction is really guaranteed. They take very big pride in the fact that their reviews are outstanding. I've often said, and look, you can't hold them to an earlier timeline, but I know that, John, they like to exceed expectations at Morelli Tuck Pointing. And if you read some of the reviews up on MorelliTuckPointing.com, I think you'll see that. Call for an appointment, whether it's a big or small project, 314-645-1387, the website, MorelliTuckPointing.com.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Nor Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at CrawfordButts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's CrawfordButts.com.
Let's take a break.
Good idea.
Hey, Tom, what are you doing on that Amendment 4?
You know, we fought for our freedom and rights. I'm not giving them away without a fight.
4 takes them?
That's exactly what 4 does. For over 100 years, Missouri voters have used our constitutional power to act when the politicians refused. I'll be darned if I'm voting to pass on less freedom and power to my kids.
And doesn't 4 also kill majority rule?
Yup. Creates minority rule, or just 5% of the most liberal statewide voters in one Missouri congressional district that block any citizen-led reform, making it nearly impossible to pass common-sense conservative citizen ballot measures.
That's crazy town stuff.
And we've needed our citizen ballot measure power to pass some big conservative stuff, like outlawing tax hikes without voter approval, lobbyist reforms, and term limits for career politicians.
No way I'm letting a tiny fraction of liberals derail our conservative power. I'm no on Amendment 4.
Hard no on 4.
Pay 4 buttons every inch, prepare governance.
Hey, it's Annie, and I'm here with my friend Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage. Stewie, if there's one thing I know, it's that people are looking for cash right now. And the mortgage being the biggest bill that most people have, is it the right time to refinance or even just restructure their current mortgage?
You know what, Annie? My wife came over to me yesterday and said, you know what, honey? I love you, and your love gives me thrills, but unfortunately, it don't pay my bills. So here's what we're going to do. Do the bagel loan. If you financed your house over the last 3 years, rates are lower today than they've been over that period of time. Call me. We can refinance, save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month. Now, many people out there think they have a low rate, but maybe you're paying the PMI or maybe you have an FHA loan. You have to look at the total picture, and that's the mistake people make. They say, hey, I'm in a great position. I can't do better. Wrong. 9 out of 10 people that call us with the same conversation, hey, I'm just calling you just to see, we end up refinancing them and saving them lots of money.
Call Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage, and remember the bagel loan, no closing costs. 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
The Second World War is the largest event in human history.
A 20-part series with Tom Hanks.
No part of the globe was untouched, no life unchanged.
Experience the ultimate account of World War II.
Every single person had a story. These are the stories that make us who we are.
Listen to World War II with Tom Hanks on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis conservative.
These allegations are deeply concerning.
Does the president have any comment?
We're not going to comment.
It's not clear messaging.
No.
And now, Sue's News. Brought to you by Sue.
Well, on this day in history, we got a little music, Mark. 61 years ago, it was 1965, and this song came out, Lovin' Spoonful.
The year of my birth, Sue.
Oh.
My mom said, probably. You believe in magic.
Yeah.
Great song, though.
Now, I know this song as a kid only because Sean Cassidy, who I loved, recorded it later. Now, this version went to number 9. I'm not sure why it was in the thing today, because it only went to 9. But Sean's version in 1978 only made it to 31. That's okay.
That's all right.
So
he was still a heartthrob,
like
right?
Yes, he had that beautiful feathered hair.
I forgot all about him.
Oh,
I know, you only think about David, right, Fred?
Yeah, right.
Oh,
and I'm telling you, those are my, if you really go to my first records that I ever had, there were 2 that come to mind. The Partridge Family, and then
That's right.
Barry Manilow Live. I swear to God, I had Barry Manilow Live.
The blue double album
Yes,
set.
yes.
You guys, in my phone, I have a photo of my 6th grade birthday party, and somebody gave me the Sean Cassidy album. Oh, yes. And Cheryl Coward's mother took us to the show at the arena.
Look at that.
Huh? Yeah, we sat there with
Wait
her
a second.
mom.
He didn't headline the arena, did he?
Yes. Well, wait, the old barn. He was there.
Okay. Maybe it was like one of those half shows. You know what I mean?
Well, it could have been, but he was such a big deal then. It was just all a bunch of screaming teens and preteens. But
shocked that we missed that, Fred.
I know.
And then 57 years ago, it was 1969. Neil Armstrong, Edwin Buzz Aldrin became the first men to walk on the moon. It was 10:56 p.m. Eastern. Now, when Armstrong walked down the ladder, his pulse registered at 160 beats per minute. Can you imagine? I mean, you're in space. You're the first person to walk. The stress, the excitement, holy Toledo.
Well, it didn't happen, Sue. So there's
that's
less
right.
stress
That's
in a
right.
Hollywood movie
Now,
studio.
Remember, I've told this story how I thought I was on our back porch, and we turned the kitchen portable TV around onto the porch so we could sit on the porch and watch it while looking up at the moon.
That's
cool.
awesome.
Really
That's
pretty cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it was a 3-man mission. But the other guy is forgotten astronaut Michael Collins. So he had to stay in orbit on the Apollo 11. So NASA stopped their lunar missions after Apollo 17, which, of course, Collins probably would have commanded, but he had retired by then.
He was sort of like the sober driver.
Yes.
He just had to stay behind while everybody else had all the fun.
He's the getaway guy. All right, so it's not a surprise that it's National Moon Day. Yes. It's also National Get Out of the Doghouse Day. I would assume, Mark Reardon, is that you?
Do you have the bell?
I do.
Yeah, I would hit the bell.
Okay. Fred, you in the doghouse?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Really?
What?
Fred, you get in the doghouse? I don't
No,
think that's true.
It can't be. The man cleans the baseboards.
That's right.
It's National Pennsylvania Day. Do we have a day? I don't know.
Gotta have
Should
a day
we?
for Missouri.
And National Lollipop Day and National Fortune Cookie Day. Now, I, one time in San Francisco, took a tour of Chinatown, and they take you to the back, and you watch the people making the fortune cookies. It was really cool. You got to eat samples.
Have you ever had a good one, though? I mean,
Yeah,
are they
I've
good?
had good fortune cookies, yeah.
I think they're good. Mike says no, so I get to
I'm a
eat
no.
two.
There's
so.
difference in quality. I mean, look, it's kind of a little tradition after you eat.
Just a little
that
something.
food,
It's
right.
not too. I'm sorry, I keep hitting this mic. It's not too sugary, but a little something. You know. All right, Spain, of course, won the World Cup yesterday, and thanks to that one goal. me.
See, now you sound like me. Like I'm the biggest anti-soccer guy because of that, because of all the. And then I love the whole thing, except for the game was boring. We know that.
I thought it was the most exciting 1-0 game I had seen.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
All right.
'cause the anticipation through the whole game on who was going to score.
Fred, I assume you watched Saturday with the third place game that actually
That
had
was
more
the
action.
best game of all the games I watched over the whole time.
See, I was at the pool when that happened. Then we get back and it had just wrapped up, and I hit they were doing the highlights, and I'm like, oh my gosh, was there a lot of action?
6-4.
Right.
England beat France. Okay, for winning the World Cup, Spain gets $50 million. Argentina gets $33 million for second place. England gets $29 million for coming in third, and fourth place finisher France gets $27 million. That's a lot of money.
I'd say second, third, and fourth get a fair payout,
yeah,
right?
they do. 50 versus 33. That's,
what did the USA got? 16
16,
million.
right. But they had to split it with the ladies.
Because that's
ridiculous.
sensible.
Do you think that these guys are splitting that with the ladies' team?
No.
No, they're not.
Let's see. Celebrities all over the place for the final at MetLife Stadium or New York, New Jersey Stadium, as they weirdly renamed it for the tournament. What was that?
I don't know. There probably was some FIFA rule with
we can't
sponsorships
advertise.
or something.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, welcome to America.
Yeah.
They included Matt Damon, Jay-Z was there, Beyonce, Kylie Jenner, Will Ferrell, David and Victoria Beckham. Now, those two were kind of fun to watch. Kevin Hart, Serena Williams, Javier Bardem was there. John Hamm. I don't know. It was kind of fun. And
the
Rob
Spanish
Gronkowski.
tennis player, what's his name? He was there.
Which one?
Who's the Spanish tennis player?
Oh,
I'm drawing a blank.
I
on
don't
his
think
name
I
now.
have him in
Yeah,
here.
He was there.
At one point, and I did not hear this, but at one point, the Fox Sports announcer John Strong misidentified Matt Damon as Brad Pitt.
Yes.
Did
yes.
that happen?
It was a very quick correction. And by the way, you can't really criticize him for that because at first it did look like Brad Pitt. And he made an instant correction. By the way, Carlos Alcaraz.
Carlos
That's who it was.
Alcaraz.
Yeah, he was there.
That's cool. Post Malone, did you see Posty?
Yep.
How did he do?
He was good.
Okay.
Yeah, that was like the pregame stuff.
And I did see the Tom Cruise thing. I happened to tune in time to hear him tell me.
He just showed up. He just walked out there.
Yeah, well,
he gave kind of a speech.
He
gave a little speech.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of cool.
It was well done, but I was expecting him to dangle from the stadium.
I was too, but when I thought about that, Fred, that takes the attention, that puts all the attention on Tom Cruise and not the game itself. So I thought it was more appropriate what he did. I don't know. I like the intro. I did.
I want him to stop dyeing his hair. Is that
That's
gonna
probably
happen?
not going to happen. No.
It doesn't. He will look good. You look good with the natural hair, men. I'm just telling you.
I'm with you. I've been accused of dyeing my hair. I've never dyed my hair.
Your hair looks good.
Yeah.
Fred hairs look.
Got a little
hairs
salt and pepper.
look
Look
good.
at Clooney.
All
Clooney's
of them.
still hot, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
See,
my
he's got the salt and
gosh.
pepper. It looks awkward, especially with the all black, right?
It does, and it just looks so fake. All right. By the way, I thought of Tim Summer when I heard this today. Darius Rucker is considering retiring in 2 years. His quote was, "I've been really looking at it, and I've played 110 shows last year. I mean, what am I doing?" He says he still likes making music, but he enjoys being home. He's looking, he said, at maybe doing a tour, one more big Hootie thing.
That would be huge. Look, Tim is the guy, and he's become a good friend. Tim is the guy that discovered Hootie and the Blowfish. He signed them to their record label, wrote a book about him. He's very close with Darius. But I can see them.
Yes.
By the way, I think that would be a very successful final tour. And the other reason to do that for Darius is gives the other guys a little payday. Right?
Well, you know what? He
They
kind
can
of brought
retire.
that up.
Right.
This was kind of in a podcast, and that's how he was talking about it. But he said that they would do it at a specific South Carolina stadium.
Oh, okay.
So I'm sure it's like whatever big college one.
So not a tour.
I know it sounded like one big old blowout night.
Wait till they test the waters on that and there's interest, because then that thing widens. Look, they'll know the research on it. If the research is indicating, that's why Triumph went out on the road. Anyway, you got to do a random fact.
That's true. Finally, in Sue's news, today's random fact: flight attendants in Brazil have required training in rainforest survival techniques just in case they're on a flight that crashes in the Amazon.
Makes sense. No anacondas on that flight, right?
I'm Dan Loney with Your Money Now. The U.S. government's head of the Center for AI Standards and Innovation has resigned. Chris Fall, who was named to the post 3 months ago, left the role with no reason given. The office helps facilitate testing and collaborative research on commercial AI systems. Venture capitalist David Sachs had held the role before Fall until he resigned. Good news for coffee drinkers: consuming up to 5 cups a day is safe for most adults and may have benefits towards heart health, according to the American Heart Association. The AHA journal Circulation says that drinking about 400 milligrams of caffeine daily is linked to a lower risk of heart disease, heart failure, stroke, and type 2 diabetes. A down day on Wall Street. The Dow was off 307 points, ending the session at 51,839. The Nasdaq lost 12 points, and the S&P 500 fell 14. West Texas crude was up 1% at $83.23 a barrel. That's Your Money Now.
Are you an adult with uncontrolled moderate to severe Crohn's disease symptoms and still packing a backup bag of clothes? Just in case? Skyrizi Risankizumab Riza can help you take control of your Crohn's. Feel significant symptom relief, including less abdominal pain and fewer bowel movements at 4 weeks. Plus, Skyrizi is proven to help people achieve remission and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Individual results may vary. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's. Ready to take control of your Crohn's? Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's disease.
Control is everything to me.
Learn more at skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI.
How are your energy bills right now, and can you improve upon those with new replacement windows from Bahr Construction? Because Bahr has helped St. Louis area homeowners find beautiful, energy-efficient windows for more than 30 years now in St. Louis. So whether you're replacing those windows for improved energy efficiency or weather resistance or ease of maintenance, or increased and improved curb appeal, because when you deal with Pella windows, some of the best, if not the best in the industry, you combine that with Bahr, which has installed Pella windows for decades now, you get a great project. Now, it's a simple step-by-step replacement process. It all starts with an in-home design consultation. Don't forget, with the Pella windows, and Pella stands for quality, and they've been in business since 1925. It was a 100-year anniversary. They have all kinds of options: awning, double-hung slider, casement, bow, and bay. You have style options, glass and grid options as well. That's where you need the team at Bahr to kind of tie it all together for you, put a project together, and make sure your home is not more energy efficient, only energy efficient, but looks great too from the inside and the out. BahrConstruction.com to get started today, or call 314-569-1050.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Bob and Tammy Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group, to learn how to create your worry-free retirement. We'll meet August 11th at the Doubletree Hotel in Chesterfield at 6:30. Here are Bob and Tammy with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and wondering how to turn your 401k and IRA into a worry-free retirement? Would you like to learn the strategies that give you market growth but protects you from market losses at the same time?
Would you like to get a free personalized retirement income plan? And did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to create a worry-free retirement? If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Have a worry-free retirement. Join the official financial advisors of my show, Bob and Tammy Kershaw, at the Doubletree Hotel in Chesterfield, Tuesday, August 11th at 6:30. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
This portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
From Wood River to Weldon Springs, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Oh, we've been talking about the World Cup, but Sue, did you know what happened with the Cardinals yesterday? Did you pay attention to that?
Hideous.
Complete
Just
collapse.
hideous.
Yeah, so I'm watching the World Cup and I see the score. I'm like, I don't even need to check in on the Cardinals game. And then the World Cup game ends and the Cardinals score is a lot closer than 7-0. And did you know it was Arenado who tied the game with a home run?
Oh, I didn't know that.
He got us, and then we lost an extra inning. So that was a bad loss because you had the opportunity to take that first, series after the All-Star break and do it in pretty, dramatic fashion, and then you just completely blow the game yesterday. Now you got Dustin May, who can't pitch all of a sudden. A month ago, he was probably one of the more interesting players that could be traded from the Cardinals, and now they may have waited too long. I don't know. We'll find out from Frank Cusumano. He's going to join us here in just a little bit on this Monday afternoon. You can start voting, I think today or tomorrow. We're going to find out here. Kurt Bahr, who is the Republican election official in St. Charles County. We have different, counties and different places you may vote. They have a joint news conference today between St. Louis County and St. Charles County and the city as well. Kurt Bahr is the Republican election director. Hey, Kurt, welcome back. How are you this afternoon?
I'm well. Thanks for having me back.
So now your job gets a little bit more intense. Tell us what the announcement was today, because even though Election Day is 2 weeks from tomorrow, we can start voting now, right? Or is it already underway, or tomorrow?
So tomorrow is when the no excuse in-person absentee voting begins. This is the 2-week span of time before an election when voters can show up at the election authority office or one of our satellite vote centers and present their photo ID just like they do on election day. Choose the party ballot that they want to vote on and put that paper ballot through the scanner, get their I voted sticker, and it's just like election day operation, but it's during those 2 weeks before the election. And so the St. Charles County Election Authority, St. Louis County, St. Louis City, all of us have satellite vote centers in our various jurisdictions. And, St. Charles County residents can only vote in St. Charles County and vice versa for St. Louis County residents. So the conference was about the fact that the 2 weeks begins tomorrow. Mm-hmm. We all have vote centers, and go to the appropriate website of the election authority to see when and where those vote centers are so that you can know where to go to go ahead and vote your ballot.
Sometimes I know the early voting, the narrative from a national perspective, some people get concerned about that. But when it comes to voters themselves, they seemed rather, and I'd like to vote ahead of time. I know that sometimes the criticism is, if you wait until Election Day, you're going to know more about the candidates and the issues. But this is a convenience issue, Kurt, for a lot of these voters. So we've seen some indication that people really like this, right?
We've seen a lot of indication. St. Louis County in November of 2024, they actually had more voters vote before Election Day than they did on Election Day. Here in St. Charles County, majority of our voters still vote on Election Day, but we want to make sure that as many of our St. Charles County voters have that opportunity to vote. And if they're busy working or busy with life, if they want to come in early and vote at the election authority office or one of the 2 satellite vote centers that we have, that they have that opportunity so they can get their voice heard this August 4th.
I think sometimes, even people that are very well educated and they voted for a long time, sometimes they get a little intimidated and confused by the process. But this is one of those with the primary where you have to pick a ballot, right? A Democrat or Republican. We're not a state where we register as Democrats or Republicans, but we do have different ballots. So there's different choices on those ballots in the city and in St. Louis County and St. Charles County, correct?
Correct. Yeah, the Missouri has the 2 major parties, Republican and Democratic. A Libertarian Party is recognized, and we also have what's called nonpartisan. No candidates are on a nonpartisan ballot. It's those 4 statewide ballot measures, and then maybe any other local ballot measures that may be in your jurisdiction. And so some people, if they really don't want to vote for candidates, but they want to vote for those ballot measures, they can choose that nonpartisan ballot and vote just the ballot measures.
Yeah, I guess I forgot that was available as well. So that's interesting. Look, the story when it comes to elections really, I guess, took place a couple of months ago during the California primary, where it all became very stunning to, I think, a large portion of the country, including me, and maybe they haven't voted or counted all the votes yet, that it was taking forever and ever to count votes. We don't really have. I know we've had some snafus, Kurt. We've had some things that have come up, but what would the expectations rather be when it comes to counting the votes? Are these votes, by the way, that are either cast starting tomorrow or absentee? Those will be counted before the election closes or when things close on election night?
So when you vote your paper ballot at the satellite vote center or the election authority office, you're putting your paper ballot in that scanner, and so it's being recorded at that time. Then on election day, we will shut down those machines and aggregate those vote totals after 7 o'clock when the polls close with the rest of the vote totals from all the precinct voting. Where we saw a lot of issue in California, which we don't see here in Missouri, is that vote by mail issue. Whereas here in Missouri, we can start on election day, first thing in the morning, counting the absentee ballots by mail, so that by the time the polls close, we have already counted those ballots and we can add those to the total because they have to be in our possession by the time the polls close. We don't have that extended time to receive ballots by mail like California did, which caused a delay for their reporting.
Yeah, mainly because that's ridiculous that they have that option out in California, I would say. So these votes will be counted. I mean, we'll have results because it's a primary election relatively early in the evening, between 9 or 10, would you anticipate, or does it just depend?
It always depends, but generally most of the time by 9, 10 o'clock at the latest, we have either everything reported or we're at 90% plus reported by the 10 o'clock news hour.
Awesome. Well, look, we're featuring some of the St. Charles, county executive candidates. I had Bill on the other day. Steve Ellman's coming in tomorrow. We had Jason Law on. So we're focusing on a lot of stuff that's happening out there in St. Charles. If anyone has confusion, questions, anything like that, Kurt, where do they go?
The Election Authority office is sccmo.org/election authority. We have all the information, times and places of our absentee voting polling locations, as well as information about the website, the sample ballot lookup, how to find your polling place. All that information is on our website.
Hey, are you still, Rick Stream comes on from St. Louis County every once in a while. I know him pretty well, and they're looking for, poll workers. Are you still in a situation where you need volunteers or not?
We have the August election fully staffed. We're always looking for more because we need more judges in November. So if there's anybody, Republican or Democratic, who wants to be a poll worker, again, they can go to our same website, and there's a sign-in sheet on our website for becoming a poll worker. We're always looking to recruit more. We just had a training session this morning, and we had about a quarter of the class was brand new people. This is their first election, so they were in training today to learn the process. It'll be paired up with a more experienced election judge to be able to pass out those ballots and check photo IDs on election day.
Awesome. Kurt, thanks for the information. Good luck with everything in the next couple of weeks. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Bert. You
All
too.
right, take care. Frank Cusumano's coming up here in a couple of minutes. We're going to talk about the World Cup, the Cardinals blowing that lead, and some of the other things related to sports. But this is new. Fred gave me this. He knows that I'm a big football fan of Mizzou and college football in general. The SEC kicked off. This is such a great feeling after the World Cup and after the All-Star game. Football is just weeks away, Sue.
Yeah, that's true.
For those of us who love that game, that is my beautiful game. It really is. But the SEC, they do this in all the conferences. They have the media day, so it's kind of the big rollout, and all the coaches get up there and they talk about things. And one of the big topics of conversation, it will continue to be a topic, is the college football playoff format because, some coaches like it, some coaches don't like it. Here's Coach Drink talking about that at SEC Media Days a short while ago.
Well, the problem is we have a human committee that has no standard set of structure of how they're going to select. They're all human beings. They all have implicit bias. So now we're going to go from 7 to 11, and we think that's going to solve the problem. Until we figure out what exactly the standards are, I don't think that's good.
He's not been one to be shy about his opinions of the state of the game. There's no doubt about that.
I think we should go back and try to find more ways to include teams. How do we get more people involved? Because that's better for the players. That's better for the player experience to have more people involved in the potential to play for a championship. And it's better for the fan bases. I think we all would agree that the 4 college football playoff games at home campuses was a huge win for college football. We need to expand that opportunity, that energy and excitement.
Obviously, they are expanding it, but I think that he wants to expand it even more. Then the question becomes, does it get watered down? Look, they're doing this in the NCAA basketball tournament, and I understand that it's exciting for the fans and everything, but at a certain point, you do kind of have to have,
right.
Some. Even in the World Cup, they're doing this now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what does the regular season do for you? And the SEC has, opened up its schedule now where we're playing more opponents, and it is going to be tough even for some of the top-tier teams in the league, which is probably why he's talking about this, because you could
have to think that's
because
why.
you can have a really maybe even an average record compared to other teams out there that might have a better record, but you're talking about some of the toughest competition out there in all of sports. Anyway, something to consider, and I'm sure Frank is paying attention to the SEC Media Days. The other big story of the weekend was Bryson DeChambeau and his effort to, was it cheat or do something else on Friday? That kind of rolled into the weekend.
Oh, it did.
Well, here's what the big question is, and I don't think this happened. I'll ask Frank. There is reporting out there, and I'm always suspicious about reporting, that he wanted to call President Trump over this controversy with the penalty. Now, that's what I say. I have a very difficult time believing that that's true. And by the way, if it is true, I can see it being a joke.
Yes.
Where Bryson says something like, look, maybe I'll call the president, like the red card. So
right, exactly.
But there's like Golf Week and some of the publications that should have these stories buttoned up are reporting that today. We'll talk to Frank.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, I hope he didn't do it seriously.
I know.
If
I
it
do
did happen.
too.
On the roads, if you are westbound on 70, it looks fine out of downtown. Eastbound slowing at 141. And then westbound 64, that's slow. Kings Highway out through McCausland. Eastbound slows at 270, and then westbound out at Prospect. Southbound 270, it's just moderate volume in pockets. 64 down through Doherty Ferry. We've got volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. It's just moderate. A little bit of eastbound, though, as you head for the 70 split. And eastbound 64 is jammed from 157 almost to 159. Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Why pay full insurance when you can customize and save? Switch to Liberty Mutual and they'll customize your auto and home insurance so you only pay for what you need. Liberty, 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 liberty.
What's happening now?
Americans were blatantly lied to about the security of our election.
The most severe vulnerabilities our system had, it gets hacked. And then they don't tell any of us.
97.1 FM Talk.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
I met my wife in law school at the University of Florida. She was from upstate New York and I was from Kentucky. We met at a daily mass at St. Augustine's. She was the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen in my life. After communion, I followed her out of the church and got her phone number. The rest is history. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Little did we know that one day we would have 4 children and the largest injury firm in the world. All 4 work in the business. It's a family business. Did I ever see this coming? Hell no. We just worked very hard and treated our clients like we would want to be treated, like family. It's a full-service injury firm, auto accidents, medical malpractice, workers' compensation, Social Security, and insurance disputes. We're open 24/7, 365 days a year. Visit forthepeople.com and we can get to work on your case. No recovery, no fee. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right nice soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its
Ollidart's 25-year transferable warranty.
Just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it. With a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Andrew Bailey, the Assistant Director of the FBI, Deputy Director, got to get that title right, is going to join us, former Missouri AG. After the top of the hour, right to Frank Cusumano, KSDK Sports Director. A lot to talk about, including I just played a little audio from Coach Drink at SEC Media Days, but as a Mizzou football fan, we got some pretty big news today, didn't we?
Well, we really did, because it's the first time it's been announced that Ahmad Hardy is resuming, football activities, and they think he's going to play football this year. Now, they don't know exactly when. It's like a 5 to 8 week thing, but I'd be shocked after what Drink said today if he's not ready at least by the SEC season, and I think probably a little bit sooner. I'm pretty close to some people in Columbia that are very close to Ahmad Hardy, and they say he's just moving really well. The problem is there's no history of guys coming back from getting shot in their leg. So they don't know exactly, but he's moving great and things are all positive.
Yeah, for people who might not remember this, he was shot in a bit of a scuffle that happened in Mississippi on May 10th. So this goes back a few months, and he was finally medically cleared, which is big because we just didn't know. I mean, it's been a little mystery as far as how much this would, hurt him. He's a running back, and it was a bone in his leg that was hit.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, he was back at the Mizzou hospital like 2 days later, and he was walking pretty well like in that first week. And he's been a workout warrior, and we know he's a monster in the weight room. So I think all signs are really positive.
Frank, I'm curious. Obviously there's still a little bit of time here before things really get rolling with Mizzou football, but there's the question marks regarding Hardy, new quarterback coming in this year, the transfer from Ole Miss. What is a realistic expectation for Mizzou as they try to take that next step regarding, I guess, quality of team within the SEC?
Well, I saw one that had him at like 6.5 is the over/under. I mean, I would jump on that like in a heartbeat. I mean, all the reports, and granted they're just reports, but I know a coach down there that works with Austin Simmons, and they all just gush about him. And it took Drink about 72 hours after he saw him in these spring drills to say, okay, he's my starter. I mean, last year took a long time. So, look, if you were recruited by Lane Kiffin and developed by Lane Kiffin and started by Lane Kiffin, I think you're pretty good, and Coach Drink has a pretty good track record with quarterbacks too. So they have a chance to have a really dynamic quarterback also.
I think so too. It's a tough schedule. That's really, where a lot of the questions would be around just the quality of opponents because we have more SEC opponents. All right, what the hell happened yesterday? The Cardinals are off to this seemingly good start. We're all watching the World Cup. They're blowing away the Diamondbacks, and then inning upon inning, they lose the lead. Arenado gets a home run to tie the game. We lose in extra innings. That was just a tough one yesterday, Frank. Really, really tough.
Yeah, and when you consider Arizona is going to be one of those 3 or 4 teams along with the Pirates and the Marlins and maybe the Padres and the Cardinals involved for that final wild card playoff spot, you don't want to think that blowing a 7-run lead, the largest lead you've blown since 2010, is the reason you're not in the postseason. But who knows? It could be. And it was a combination of things. Jose Fermin, who's a career infielder, just botched a play in left field, should have been a single. Instead, it turned into a 2-run Little League homer. And then, the bullpen had issues. And, Mark, when you're playing all these games in a row, and Thursday's not an off day, they're going to be playing a makeup game, you have got to have a lot of quality arms in that bullpen, and I'm not sure they do.
Yeah, and that's what my question was regarding, is the bullpen and what you've seen from them lately. It's interesting when you look at the individual numbers for most of the guys in there, they don't look terrible, but it just seems like on a pretty consistent basis, they're not able to have a complete night from them, and as a result, feels like someone gives something up that hurts the team pretty consistently, Frank.
Yeah, it's a great point. And the fact that they're overworked because you have a starting staff, that rarely gives you a 6 or 7 inning performance. So, and you're playing every day, and you're throwing these guys out there every day, and they're not unbelievable to begin with. You're missing Joe Romero. So now they're playing the worst team in baseball, the Angels. They're 22 games under 500. This is a series you just have to win at least 2 out of 3.
Yeah. All right, what did you think? First of all, let me take your temperature on this. Did you watch the halftime show for the World Cup?
Oh, I saw your tweet, too, and I couldn't agree more. So much better than the Super Bowl. I enjoyed the heck out of it.
Good, I'm glad. We'll just stop there on that because Ethan disagrees. But on the game itself, look, I thought it was a great World Cup. And I'm not even a big football guy, but I got into it as a sports fan. It was a little boring yesterday, but there was a lot on the line. So I watched the whole game. I think the country did us all proud here in all these cities just to execute this. I'm going to talk with Andrew Bailey here in a few minutes with the FBI. They had a lot of work to do, in keeping these fans and these teams safe. By the way, I don't know if you noticed the line of police officers that were on that field yesterday. I mean, they were everywhere on the field, making sure that people wouldn't get on that field. But overall, what a great experience we've had for the last month, Frank.
Oh, we have. I had 2 takeaways from the game. One thing is it was one of the most exciting 1-0 games I've ever seen in my life, because normally 1-0 it seems kind of dull. Of course, the Cardinals had that great Game 5 against in Philadelphia to win an NLDS. And then the other takeaway from that game is, Mark, this is what makes soccer different and maybe not great, is that the best player in the world in basketball could never be taken out of a game, Michael Jordan. The best player in the history of football, Tom Brady, could never be taken out of a game. Best player in hockey, Wayne Gretzky, never be taken out of a game. Yet in soccer, you can take out the GOAT and have him not be a factor at all. That's what I found was really kind of intriguing about the game.
Frank, have a great week. We'll talk on Friday. The Cardinals have a busy week. I think the Reds are here next weekend. We'll get a preview of that, and we'll talk maybe a little bit more football since that's getting closer. Have a great week.
All right, buddy. Take care.
All right, take care.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Accident eastbound 270 at the Canal Bridge. This, of course, has created a huge parking lot jam behind it back across the Chain of Rocks Bridge, and we are jammed back to Bell Fountain. So if you are taking eastbound 270 into Illinois, it's kind of a mess. Now, westbound 70 out of downtown is fine. A little bit slow at 141, and then things open up. 64, it's Kings Highway out through McCausland, slowing at 270. And then you get a break, and it really lines up just past Lake St. Louis Boulevard out through 70. Northbound 270 is jammed. We had an accident reported near Ladue Road. Southbound, just slow pockets approaching Manchester down through Doherty Ferry. 55 is in pretty good shape. We do have an accident, though. This one is reported on Telegraph near Forder, and ooh, that's a jam. On the Illinois side, fine on westbound Poplar Street Bridge, but eastbound is slow, headed for the 70 split. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, At Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-887-4333. 314-887-4333. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-887-4333.
One of the biggest gifts you can give your family is peace of mind. That's why I trust and recommend Civia Law. They've helped so many families, including mine, right here in our community with estate planning, wills, trusts, powers of attorney, and elder law issues. I've seen how stressful it can be when a loved one passes without a plan. Families are left confused, sometimes tied up in probate court, and it can cost so much in time and money. But with Civia Law, you don't have to worry about that. They'll walk you through everything and even deliver your completed documents in just 2 weeks from your first appointment. And here's something special just for you. Mention the Annie Fry Show, and the first 10 listeners right now will get a free strategy session. That's a $300 value. 833-995-WILL. Just be sure to mention the Annie Fry Show when you call. Civia Law has 7 convenient locations across Illinois and Missouri, including in Edwardsville, Swansea, and Creve Coeur. Secure your legacy and protect the people you love. Call 833-995-WILL. That's 833-995-WILL or visit civialaw.com.
Meet Linda. She's stuck in traffic with hundreds of thoughts racing through her mind, like what she needs to pack for her family's vacation and what they still need from the store. But you know what she's not thinking about? Her HVAC system. Linda is a preferred partner with Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Members of our preferred partner plan get 2 HVAC system checks per year. We clean and inspect your AC and furnace at each visit. Partners also get priority service and exclusive discounts starting at just $19 per month. Life is chaos, but with Air Comfort Service, you'll have peace of mind with your HVAC system. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Hey, how about this for our lineup today? Andrew Bailey, the Deputy Director of the FBI, is on hold. He joins us right after Fox News. Coming up next.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
Targets in Iran taking another pounding. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The U.S. military says it's conducting its 10th night of strikes in a push to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. CENTCOM posting on social media that the strikes are designed to further degrade Iranian military capabilities used to attack commercial shipping in the strait.
CENTCOM saying some of those targets include command and control centers as well as launching sites for Iranian drones and missiles. A ballistic missile attack by Iran on Jordan on Friday led to the death of 2 U.S. service members. A third service member involved in that attack still missing. In the meantime, Iran continues to target U.S. partners in the region, launching strikes against both Kuwait and Bahrain.
Fox's Steve Harrigan in Tel Aviv. The White House says President Trump will attend the dignified transfer of the soldiers' remains at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware tomorrow evening. An update on the investigation into a fire-starting device ignited during an attack outside federal offices in Manhattan.
Local and federal law enforcement say Andrew Arabaka lit gasoline and fired a pellet gun outside government offices where immigration court was held. 3 people were hurt. He's now in federal custody. FBI special agent in charge in New York, James Barnacle, said Arabaka told them directly.
He was targeting the building, and he was okay if he hurt or killed people going in and out of the building.
Arabaka also had knives and other weapons on him. NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch said he may have had tactical training.
He is believed to be a U.S. Army veteran.
He also had a sign protesting ICE. The investigation is continuing.
Fox's Gernal Scott in New York City. The Trump administration imposing 50% tariffs on most goods from Canada, claiming that country is unfairly discriminated against American autos, alcohol, and dairy products. America's listening to Fox News.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids Max Strength. Its dual-active formula has 1,500 milligrams of calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaids spells powerful relief. 1,500 milligrams is our highest amount of antacid per tablet. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She can get a deal. Book telehealth if she feels.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Summertime is alive and well this evening, hanging around 90 degrees, clear, warm, and humid overnight. The overnight low, only 78. Tuesday, partly sunny, hot, and humid, but a cool front is on the way. A couple of spot thunderstorms. I don't see a lot of thunderstorm action. 95 for the high. The winds are out of the north come Tuesday evening. Tuesday night, partly cloudy. Nothing more than some spot evening thunderstorms. 71. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
You know, I often talk, Sue Thomas, of my affinity for Sin City, for Las Vegas. I go out there a lot. I visit there because my good friend Rick is out there, and I like seeing shows and comedy, etc. I've been to Sphere 3 times, and there's a rumor going around about somebody who might perform at Sphere that's going to I think it's going to get you to want to go to Sphere.
Really?
You just wait on that.
All right.
Okay? I'll bring that up a little bit later this hour. I may or may not be serious about that with you, but you're going to find it interesting. We'll have Dan Reardon join us. You know, the British Open controversy with Bryson is actually really interesting. It's all the talk and the buzz of the golf world. Rory McIlroy kind of weighed in and criticized Bryson. It's just sad for me because I really grew... I hated him. Everybody hated Bryson when he was younger, right?
Well, yeah.
Because he was an immature jackass. So then he becomes this very lovable creature on YouTube and on Instagram, and he's playing golf with President Trump and all these things. And then last week, he kind of reverts to jackass form.
Yeah, what's that about?
I don't know, but we'll talk with Dan about that coming up. We have the Deputy Director of the FBI on the line, Andrew Bailey, our former Attorney General here in Missouri, just off of a great successful stint protecting people at World Cup sites across the country. Hello, Andrew Bailey. How are you?
Hey, Mark. Thanks for having me on, my friend.
How much of a relief is it that the last month is over? But, man, you really, you think about the number of games, and you guys have kind of said it. It was like preparing for like 78 different Super Bowls, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, this was an enormous event of historic proportion, 56 field offices covering 11 host cities. We had to cross-level different assets and resources to make sure we had enough coverage. And look, Major League Baseball is still going on, America 250. State fairs, all those normal events that happen every summer are layered on top of the massive security concern for a World Cup that saw record-setting attendance. So it was a big success. Really proud of our partners at the local level, especially across the state in Kansas City, showing the world the very best Missouri has to offer.
Yeah, so what was, obviously the FBI is kind of running point on some of this, but you had to have all this cooperation for so many different law enforcement agencies across the country to pull this thing off and to make sure everyone was on the same page.
Yeah, that's right. And it's not just our local partners in the host cities. It's also foreign partners in both Canada and Mexico. People forget Canada had 2 host cities, hosted several matches. Mexico had 3 host cities, and some of the security concerns in Mexico are, really are extreme. And so having that buy-in at that level is critically important. And again, we can't do our jobs at the FBI without those local partners, the brave men and women in uniformed law enforcement. It's sharing intelligence, it's sharing security concerns, and ensuring that we're using the legal authorities provided to us to keep the American people safe.
I don't know why I noticed it yesterday during the final, perhaps more than earlier, but when they were showing some of the wider shots of the field and the fans, I mean, there was a police officer that was about every 5 feet away on that field circling the stadium. I mean, I don't think you guys were taking any chances with that crowd yesterday or probably throughout the whole tournament. That was pretty impressive, and I just kind of happened to notice it because I'm like, wow, there's a lot of security, a lot of security.
Yeah, for sure. One, there's security inside the stadium. There's security outside the stadium. There's security throughout the city to secure the transportation routes into and out of the stadium to ensure that in a mass casualty event that the right resources and assets can deploy in a timely manner. And it's critically important that we have those arteries open, that we have that presence, what you see and also what you don't see.
Yeah, no doubt. Andrew Bailey is here, our former Attorney General, is doing great work at the FBI as Deputy Director. Let me ask you about a story of the day. Do you know anything about what happened in New York City earlier today at the Federal Building when you had someone who apparently was a former Army member who basically lit off, they say, an incendiary device? It looked like he poured gasoline in front of that building and some fireworks and just set it on fire.
Yeah, that's right. Look, the investigation's ongoing. We're working with New York City Police Department on that investigation, and we're going to ensure that we hold this individual responsible and anyone that worked with him. Look, the president signed NSPM 7. That's a policy memo directing all federal law enforcement to dismantle, disrupt, and ultimately indict criminal enterprises that are left-wing violent extremists. And that appears to be some of the motivation here, right? I mean, the guy was very anti-ICE. And so people that don't like the immigration laws, they need to petition Congress to change them, not try to blow up federal buildings and harm innocent bystanders.
This is something, though, that you're also working very hard on at the office, is trying to make sure that these, because these threats online with the violent extremism, I'm shocked sometimes when I see some of the things that people post on there, and you don't know what's true and what's not true, but you have to take it seriously.
Yeah, Mark, look, there's a scary new threat stream. It's the confluence. It's the merger of radical extremism and modern terrorism. It's called nihilistic violent extremists. They prey on our children. They live on the dark web, but they create victims on the open web. And the Federal Bureau of Investigation has increased the total number of arrests of these NVE groups by 500%. These are the individuals who target isolated children. They exploit those children. They convince those children to commit acts of self-harm, acts of animal abuse, ultimately suicide, and even mass casualty events. And so being adept at operating on both the dark web and the open web to protect victims and hold these violent extremists, these terrorists accountable is critical. And we're seeing success. All 56 of our field offices now have open investigations into these online NVE groups. And as a parent, I find it abhorrent. It's frightening. These NVE extremists, they find kids on gaming platforms. That's where they're grooming children for these violent acts.
Because that's where these kids are. Really, that is scary. Look, when it comes to all this stuff online, I have a great segment. I know you're a fan of the show. If you're ever around, driving through on Tuesdays at 5:30, my friend George Rosenthal is a great sponsor at ThrottleNet. We do these Tech Talk Tuesday segments, and a lot of it, focuses on AI, but a lot of it also focuses on the sophistication of the malfeasance that's going on out there with these scams. And even ordinarily smart people, look, I've almost fallen for a couple of the phishing scams. But these things, I'm sure, when they get to the level of your office, are at an unbelievable, level of, confusion and incomprehension, and just really, really complicated and dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, there are so many other crimes associated with these online cyber scams, and they cost Americans up to tens of billions of dollars every year in Southeast Asia. They actually have scam center compounds where, for instance, in Cambodia and the Philippines and other countries, the criminal enterprises will create these campuses fenced in with buildings and dining facilities and entertainment facilities. And then they'll recruit people from other countries online to then come and work in these scam centers. But then they enslave them. They take their passport, they take their visa, they don't let them leave the compound. And in a single day, they can enrich themselves to the tune of millions of dollars by using AI tools and modern technology to rip off working American families and families in other countries as well. And so we've been hard at work to dismantle those enterprises and hold those wrongdoers accountable, bring them back to the United States to face the full weight of American justice.
So is that, now that it's post-World Cup, just curious about your focus in your particular role as Deputy Director of the FBI. Is that where the focus is right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I was just in Bangkok, Thailand, to meet with the Royal Thai Police. They've seized one of these scam compounds. And so we're working through the evidence now and coming up with new innovative strategies. Again, sometimes it's about arrests and indictments. Sometimes it's about disruption and dismantling these enterprises. But that's what the FBI does. We play a unique role in the criminal justice system, and it's complex international investigations. And we take the enterprise approach. We don't want to just pick off the lower tier criminals. We want to pick off we want to dismantle the entire operation. And so that absolutely is the focus moving forward. And the president came to office with a promise to make America safe again. Sometimes we can do that by taking the fight to the enemy overseas.
Hey, I hope you're getting back here to see the family enough. I know how busy you are, but thanks for checking in with us here on this Monday, and hopefully a little bit of a sigh of relief now that the World Cup is over as well.
Yeah, for sure, Mark. Always appreciate you, man. Hopefully I can come see you in studio one of these days next time I'm back in town.
Do it. We'll start talking a little bit more about Mizzou football. They had SEC Media Days today, and Ahmad Hardy has been cleared to practice, so that's big news. Thank you, Andrew. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Mark.
All right, we'll
soon.
see you. I'm going to, tomorrow on the show, I'm going to have Hans von Spakovsky, who is one of the great experts at Heritage, and we're going to talk about the SAVE Act. And I want to talk about the SAVE Act right here from a different perspective, because I always look at things, and I try to look at things through different lenses, and I'm a proponent of the SAVE Act. I think most people in this country, even Democrats, agree that you should have to show a photo ID to vote and maybe to register to vote. But Lisa Murkowski, who is a Republican senator from Alaska. You know, you have Susan Collins up there in Maine, who is likely, even if Graham Plattner was in that race, likely to still win her seat because she's been up there for a long time. Lisa Murkowski's like one of those Republicans as well. Susan and Lisa vote on the same page, sometimes against Republicans. They represent, states that aren't maybe quite as red as where we live. But Lisa Murkowski wrote something in the Wall Street Journal that caught my attention, and I think there's legitimate complaints in here. Hans, who is a huge proponent of the SAVE Act, is going to respond to this tomorrow. But here's what she said in the Wall Street Journal. She said, President Trump made his case for the SAVE Act on Thursday, claiming the security of our elections is at stake. While I support the bill's core tenets, ensuring that only American citizens vote and requiring identification when voting, I remain opposed to it. Now, I didn't know this until I read this piece in the Journal. She says, why? Because it would have serious negative effects in Alaska, and the current text does not allow for the time and resources needed for proper implementation. I'll circle back to that here in her specifics in a second, but one of the big stories that kind of went viral in meme form late last week was the notion that on some of these things related to elections, you have to show an ID to get your unlimited pasta deal at the Olive Garden. So some of us were making that point that you have to show, and the Olive Garden was forced to come out with a statement to say, yeah, because the name has to match up with the person who has the never-ending pasta plate or whatever the hell it is. So that's a little different because, we're talking about very few people are going to agree on the photo ID, disagree on that. I mean, it's an overwhelming. I've been talking about voter ID for 3 decades, believe it or not. It's never been something that's been, proven to me that people can't get. I made this offer. I've talked about this before when I was on KMOX. I begged people in the city who were against this idea. This goes back like 15 years. Bring me one person who can't vote because of this, right?
Yeah.
Now, she puts this into a little bit different perspective because Alaska is not exactly Missouri. So I think that she deserves to have the complaints heard out. And she says that as written, the Save America Act isn't a simple fix to safeguard elections, as proponents claim. It would impose costly new barriers and prevent some, perhaps many, from voting. And this is where she gets kind of specifics because she says Alaskans can register to vote online right now. There is no evidence of significant fraud anywhere in that system, yet the bill would effectively end online voter registration by requiring voters to present documentary proof of U.S. citizenship in person to an election official. Now, in my mind, in our contiguous states, that shouldn't be difficult at all, right? There's offices everywhere. There's population everywhere. But this is different in Alaska. She says Alaska only has 6 election offices where that requirement could clearly be met, right? 6 places in a state that is more than twice the size of Texas, where roughly 80% of our communities and about 20% of our population are not connected by road. So she even says, and have you been there to Alaska?
I haven't.
Beautiful. I highly recommend it. I recommend it when you're younger, not older. A lot of older people wait to go to Alaska. Don't do that. Sue, you would love it because you're an active person. You can ride your bike.
Ooh.
You can kayak.
Ooh.
You can do very active things. Becky and I did a helicopter trip to a glacier.
That's
and
fun.
We literally had a guide to our own. It was just us two and this guide kind of,
That's cool.
Oh, it was amazing. So anyway, side note, I digress about Alaska. But what she says makes sense because if you've been up there, you kind of know the terrain and the geography, and it's very, very small populations. And then it takes a while to get to the next place that has a small population. But she talks about Ketchikan and Kodiak. They have Department of Motor Vehicle offices where Alaskans can register to vote. And that's pretty easy for people there, right? But let's say you're an 18-year-old living in Savunga. That is a remote island in the Bering Sea. And if you wanted to register to vote for the first time, if the SAVE Act passes, your only option would be to buy a ticket on Bering Air to Nome, which runs about $780 round trip. A night at the Aurora Inn would be more than $300. So not counting food and local transportation, it would cost more than $1,000 just to register to vote. That doesn't really make sense, right? So she says maybe you're a fisherman on Alaska, out on the Aleutian Islands. The flight to Anchorage, the closest election office, some 800 miles away, would cost you about $1,500 round trip. You would also need a hotel, cabs, food while in Anchorage because it would be impossible to fly in, register, and return home the safe day. So she says those examples assume that you have on hand the documents necessary to prove your citizenship. But take one more. You're an 85-year-old native elder born in your parents' house 18 years before statehood. Getting a certified copy of your birth certificate, especially if you never have had one, would be incredibly difficult. And she says that many Native people rely on tribal identification to register to vote. But the Save America Act would only require the card to show that the applicant's place of birth was in the U.S., along with a photo and an expiration date. While many tribes' identification cards have a photo, not all have expiration dates, and few include a place of birth. She says only about half of Alaskans have passports. Many have changed, women have changed their names after marrying or divorcing.
Right.
They wait 1 or 2 months to receive certified copies of their vital records. Some of these complaints have been out there, before, not just because of Alaska and the geographical challenges, if you will, but, these have been pointed out by Democrats as well. So she also says beyond registration is voting itself. Alaska is a no-excuse state, meaning that you can vote by mail without providing a reason. More than 50,000 Alaskans did that in the 2024 general election. Voting by mail is an important alternative in Alaska, particularly in small communities that don't have places or poll workers for in-person voting. I mean, I got to say that sounds reasonable, right? I mean, if you're living in Alaska, especially you get to November where there's maybe 40 minutes of daylight or something like
right.
that. You're probably not going to
yes.
want to show up in person. It is different. So one of the things that I think a lot of people listening right now would say, okay, that makes sense. But what about offering solutions to that? Well, Lisa Murkowski says that she has done that. She's filed several amendments when it came to the Senate floor. No effort has been made to correct those flaws. She says, I've also asked for the effective date of the legislation to be pushed back to give all states enough time for implementation. As written, the bill would take effect immediately, but it is unreasonable to expect immediate compliance. This bill would force many states to modify their election laws. Some legislatures might need special sessions to do that. I think that's reasonable to have a little bit more time built in, but I'd never really heard these specifics because I'll be honest with you, as someone who supports the SAVE Act, supports, making sure that we have safe and fair elections, I'll admit that that's a perspective I did not think of.
Right. I had not considered.
And Hawaii probably has similar challenges, right? So is there, and this is what I'll ask Hans tomorrow, is there a way to get Lisa Murkowski on board? I don't know if you have some exemptions, but they can do anything in legislation.
I would
but
think.
Her complaints and why she's voting against it for her particular state, they make sense.
Yeah.
They don't sound, look, the Democrats are opposed to it for no reason other than they're just opposed to it. They don't really, they make up things and they say things that really won't happen, just like the Georgia election law. And Larry David created an entire season of Curb Your Enthusiasm about that, and it was based on a false premise that people in line couldn't even get water. It's much more, I don't even want to talk about it. It's so stupid that thing was manipulated the way that it was. And by the way, they have more voters in Georgia than they've ever had in the past. Dan Reardon's going to join us at the bottom of the hour to talk about Bryson DeChambeau becoming a big baby again. But first, traffic here. And we got another segment. I got some stuff I still want to go over audio-wise. That's coming up next.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Accident eastbound 270 at the Canal Bridge, and they've got the left lane blocked. We've got a parking lot jam behind it back to Bell Fountain. If you're headed into Illinois, things are fine downtown if you want to try that. Now, westbound 70, a little slow Jennings Station Road. Then it opens up. 64, it's moderate, but this is volume from Kings Highway out through McCausland. A little bit at 270, eastbound at 270 as well. And then westbound around Lake St. Louis Boulevard out through the 70 split. Southbound 270, moderate volume at Olive. on either side of Manchester. And on the Illinois side, 64 eastbound jams as you head toward 159. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Guys, I really, really want you to check out Game Day Men's Health. They have 2 awesome locations in our region. Matt Lawrence is the guy that I've gotten to know. He has not only the clinic in Chesterfield, right off of 6440 Olive and Clarkson, but also in O'Fallon. And this is a clinic that's been growing across North America. We talk about the game day difference, and there really is. Maybe you've been familiar with the competition. Maybe you've never even entered a clinic like this and, been interested in testosterone replacement therapy or some of the other things that they can offer you. And at Game Day, the list goes on and on. They say men's health treatments made for every journey. So it could be boosting energy with TRT. You can talk to Pete Hegseth about that right now as well. It could be, a vitamin B12 shot or something else involving peptides, which have really blown up. Weight loss. They have GLP-1s. They have their own pharmacy at Game Day, which is important. So if you want to check out all the services, go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com. If you want to take advantage of a free 1-hour visit where they're going to stick to that time plan, get some blood work drawn, come up with a plan for you, not one size fits all. Your needs are going to be different than everyone else's, and you'll have a great experience at Game Day because that's why we call it the Game Day difference. There is a difference in quality. They make it so easy. The pricing is simplified. They're going to take great care of you. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health.
According to MasterCard, nearly half of small businesses have been a victim of a cyber attack. As cybercrime escalates, ThrottleNet is calling on businesses to strengthen their security posture by taking a free online IT security audit right from your desk. This 3-minute online assessment provides an immediate score to see security gaps and vulnerabilities in your network. For 26 years, ThrottleNet has supported your business IT everything right here in St. Louis. In fact, no client of ThrottleNet has ever paid a ransom. So visit ThrottleNet.com/971 to take the free assessment today.
If you've been told that you need a new heating and cooling system for your home, and if you've gotten prices or you're going to get prices, call me. Try to stay away from the word high efficiency or efficiency. If you replace your system now and it's 12, 15, or 20 years old, you are greatly improving the efficiency just by replacing the old, inefficient unit. Do not be fooled. If you want a common sense approach and you just want your house cooled, I will help you. If you're good with that, call me. One easy number. It's Missouri and Illinois. The easiest of numbers, 314-293-2600. Or on the internet, bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
This station is now conducting a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test.
You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, we got big shows shaping up for tomorrow. The Hall of Famer Fred Bottomer is nailing down those guests.
How about old Fred Bottenheimer over there, ladies and gentlemen?
That's exactly right. We have Tom Albas, U.S. Attorney for Eastern Missouri on criminal justice reform. Hans von Spakovsky on the Save America Act. Steve Ellman, who is the St. Charles County executive, who at first was not going to run for re-election, but because Bill Eigel, who was on the show on Friday, got in, he decided to run. So we're going to talk with Steve because we've been talking to all of the main candidates for St. Charles County Executive. And then, of course, tomorrow is Tech Talk Tuesday, and George Rosenthal will be here. I don't know what to say about this next piece of audio. I have some stuff saved up for audio cut of the day, but things like this are going more and more viral. And this happened. I got to figure out where this happened. I'm not exactly sure what city it is. Let's see here. I could probably figure it out from the body cam. And it did happen last year, but now it's going viral because somebody requested the body cam. So you have a situation where there was a trans person who was a man who decided to go into a women's, bathroom at a mall, and the women were not very happy about that. So the cop showed up, and just the whole exchange that the cop has with this person is just quite something.
What's the problem? Why do you let those kids get away with this? They are not supposed to be here! If you don't lower your voice,
I am going to put handcuffs on you, and I'm going to take you to a Baker Act facility. You lower your voice.
Try it.
But listen to that. I mean, he basically says that you just threatened me. And this person has got, of course, it's like the weirdest clothes, the weirdest hair, the piercings. You do whatever you want, but stay out of the women's restroom if you're a man. That's my only ask, you know?
Are you threatening me?
You're threatening me.
Are you threatening me?
I'm not just...
Because I'm here right now to deal with a stolen vehicle. I ain't got time to hear you screaming and yelling.
I don't have time to constantly be abused.
We'll get OPD down here then, because I gotta work this stolen vehicle.
What do you mean OPD?
Alpha 73 University.
So he's like, I'm done with this. I'm trying to look into a stolen vehicle, and this trans person's like, okay, I'm going to hand this off to somebody else.
Alpha 73?
Can we get another unit to deal with Jay Lee here? He is having a break.
Uh-oh. Wait, listen. Listen.
Just say the right pronoun!
Uh-oh.
7351. Get down on the ground right now.
No!
He said he.
Yeah.
Because he's a he.
Right.
But he freaked out.
No,
you're about to get sprayed.
No, just
get down on the ground right
So he's got pepper spray in his hand right now.
Come in there.
Leave me alone, please!
Okay, are you going to calm down?
I'm getting my phone out. I have to film this.
I'm telling you, are you going to calm down?
I think the cop's doing pretty
He's
good
doing
here.
a great
and
job.
The trans dude is freaking out.
Pepper spray out of my face!
Alpha 73.
Leave me alone!
I have
just please!
Pepper spray.
Please!
Just
stop pointing the pepper spray at me! I will calm down if you do that! Stop threatening!
I'm sorry. I love this so much. Okay, but I'll let it fade out here. On a serious note, if that does not scream mental illness, I don't know what does. I mean, there's one thing you can say, whether that person is a man or woman, whatever, that person is unhinged, like in a dangerous way. And that's what cops have to deal with
on a daily basis.
But when a woman is in a restroom and a man comes in the restroom and they complain, that's the kind of nonsense. And then my favorite part is the alleged misgendering, and the person just completely freaks out. Look, the thing with the trans community is they want this attention. They really do. They draw it to themselves. They want to be misgendered because they can have a moment like that. Now, in this particular case, it didn't work out so well for that person, I don't think. Someone else that it didn't work out so well for this weekend is Bryson DeChambeau at the British Open. It was a hell of a finish. It looked like it might be a playoff yesterday. It also looked like my guy, who I was going to bet on, Siwoo Kim at plus 4,500, was going to win, and I was going to throw up, Sue, because I didn't place the bet. Thankfully, that didn't happen. But this controversy with Bryson is kind of blown up again, and people are still talking about it. Our golf expert, Dan Reardon, no relation, coming up next.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads, the worst thing we've got going in traffic right now is the accident eastbound 270 at the Canal Bridge in the left lane, and there's only 2 lanes through there, and we've got a jam that goes back through Bell Fountain. Westbound 70, fine. Westbound 64, well, of course, we've got moderate volume Hampton through McCausland, a little slow past 270. But there was an accident near the 70 split that has caused a delay back through Lake St. Louis Boulevard. It's not bad on southbound 270. Little bit of moderate volume right now, and that's mainly at Doherty Ferry. On the Illinois side, eastbound 64 is really slow approaching 159. That, of course, due to road work. This report brought to you by Bahr Mirror Glass and Door. It's their 50th anniversary, and you don't stay in business that long by not supplying quality products and outstanding service. The key, their experienced staff. Contact Bahr Mirror Glass and Door today and let them show you why 50 years, just the beginning. I'm Sue Thomas with Traffic, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, here we sit on July 20th, and I still have an amazing offer for you from Stewart's American Mortgage. And really, it's an extension of an offer that we made first at the beginning of June, where he was offering, and still is, if you are a customer who wants to get off the sidelines and buy a house, he's offering you a 1% discount on your new 30-year mortgage for the first year, and you still get the bagel loan with no closing costs. Now, that garnered, as you might imagine, a lot of interest for Stewie. They did very, very well with people wanting to know more about that. And if you want to know more about that, that's still out there, you can always text Stewie. Get with him at 314-324-4440. By the way, if you ever forget that phone number, just Google the bagel loan. It'll come right up. He created the bagel loan to save you money. No appraisal fees, no closing costs, no title fees, no broker fees. So right now, if you go on a refi, this is the new part of the offer, from an FHA to a conventional refi, he's also going to discount that rate by 1%. So what is keeping you on the sidelines? If you think rates are too high, get with Stewie, take advantage of the bagel loan and the 1% discount on purchases and a refi if you go from FHA to conventional. Google the bagel loan or call Stewie today. 314-324-4440, NMLS number 226715.
I'm Bill Hemmer, and these are the most impactful moments in American history. June 19, 2019, President Trump made history. With just one step, President Trump became the first sitting U.S. president to step foot into the demilitarized zone greeted by North Korea's leader, Kim Jong-un. The Korean DMZ was established in 1953, a 160-mile-long scar. It's a site built from negotiations designed to end the fighting and violence, though not the Korean War itself. And yet on the grounds of this heavily guarded buffer, two leaders from two different worlds met. It was a meeting that was expected to last 5 minutes. Instead, it went 53 minutes. No treaties, no palaces, but instead, a handshake.
America 250 on 97.1 FM Talk. Sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
You know Zero Res, the zero residue carpet cleaner that leaves your carpets truly clean with no dirt attracting soaps or harsh chemicals. Don't risk it with the other guys and skip the DIY disasters that leave your carpet soaked for days. This month, get 3 rooms of carpet Zero Resified starting at just $129. Call 314-474-2020 or visit ZeroResSTL.com and ask for the 97.1 special.
Have you heard those ads claiming Amendment 4 stops conservative amendments?
That's not true. It actually stops a couple big cities from pushing radical ideas into our Constitution. Remember 2024? Only 8 out of 114 counties voted to allow transgender surgeries on children.
That's terrifying. We can't let just a handful of counties rule the whole state.
Exactly. Amendment 4 requires broad statewide support and keeps foreign money out of our elections. Vote yes on 4 this August 4th.
You convinced me. I'm voting yes too.
Paid for by Freedom Principle MO, Missouri First PAC, Kate Sickles, Treasurer.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Bahr Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is who do you hire. At Bahr, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call or visit BahrConstruction.com and have a Banner Day.
Let's take a break.
Good idea.
Hey, Tom, what are you doing on that Amendment 4?
You know we fought for our freedom and rights. I'm not giving them away without a fight.
4 takes them?
That's exactly what 4 does. For over 100 years, Missouri voters have used our constitutional power to act when the politicians refused. I'll be darned if I'm voting to pass on less freedom and power to my kids.
And doesn't 4 also kill majority rule?
Yup. Creates minority rule, or just 5% of the most liberal statewide voters in one Missouri congressional district that block any citizen-led reform, making it nearly impossible to pass common-sense conservative citizen ballot measures.
That's crazy town stuff.
And we've needed our citizen ballot measure power to pass some big conservative stuff, like outlawing tax hikes without voter approval, lobbyist reforms, and term limits for career politicians.
No way I'm letting a tiny fraction of liberals derail our conservative power. I've no on Amendment 4.
Hard no on 4.
Pay 4 buttons or inch per care governance.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
5:36. This portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly, heating, air conditioning, electrical, and plumbing.
For details and a list of all station contest rules, visit www.971talk.com/rules. Happy birthday, America, in 2026. Get used to hearing the word semi-quincentennial. America 250 on 97.1 FM Talk. Sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
Well, there was a fair amount of competition for your sports viewing over the weekend with baseball back, with the World Cup wrapping up with third place game in the championship and with the British Open as well. It was a hell of a finish, and a guy that I think a lot of Americans have never heard of, Ryan Fox, who's a Kiwi. He's ranked 56 in the world. He managed a birdie putt on 18 to make sure it didn't go to a playoff, and he wins the Open. But of course, the story of the weekend involves a guy named Bryson DeChambeau. We'll get to that here in a second. Dan Reardon, our golf expert, back with us this afternoon. Let's first, Dan, talk about the tournament itself before we get into the Bryson stuff, because this guy really did something incredible on Saturday. I think he was even, and he had an 8 under 62 on Saturday, tying for the lowest round ever at a major, and that put him in great position, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. And let me mention about Ryan Fox. I have a friend who works for the PGA Tour and media, and talked to him last year at the senior event. And as it turns out, he knew Ryan extremely well. He's only been on the tour for a short period of time and just couldn't stop saying nice things about him. And you always like to see somebody experience success who you know behind the scenes is really good. And the other thing is, I don't know if you saw that putt live, but
I did.
I did. From the time that Sam Burns holed out to the time that Ryan Fox hit his putt, somebody clocked it. It was 22 seconds that it took for him.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great example for everybody who plays the game.
There were a couple of things that were going around on social media today about the speed at which he plays. And, he was hung up on some tee boxes with some delays. But, yeah, he doesn't waste his time at all. And that was kind of interesting. And that putt, that was a big putt. Look, because if he doesn't hit that, then it goes into a playoff with Sam Burns, right?
Right. Oh, no, Cameron Young.
Cameron Young. I'm sorry, with Cameron Young, yeah. But what would that have been? Do you know what the playoff is for the British Open?
I do. They do an aggregate playoff. It is not sudden death. They play, I believe, 4 holes.
Yes.
And the total after 4 holes. And that's been in place for quite a while. And you talk about the speed of play. Scotty Scheffler was quoted afterwards. He said he played with Ryan Fox a year ago, and they were in a threesome. And he said he plays so fast that he eventually commented to him. He said, "You play so fast, I feel like I'm playing in a twosome because you're never there."
I know. I saw some of that stuff out there today, which is interesting. All right, let's talk about Bryson. Dan, you were here on Friday. We know he had this moment on the course. First, for people that don't know exactly what happened on Friday, maybe go over that, because he ends up in this long grass and he gets penalized 2 strokes because he did something he wasn't supposed to do, right?
Exactly. And those elements are simple and direct. They're not matters of opinion. His ball was lying in grass that was knee high. And he walks into that area, and he doesn't just walk by it. He literally goes in and stomps that grass down. And then he comes back again and stomps it one more time. That's beyond dispute. I mean, there's video of him doing that. So we know that he did that. And we know the rule in the game is you cannot alter anything that's still growing. In other words, you can't break a branch or move anything to improve your shot. So those 2 things are beyond dispute. So when Bryson goes back out to argue the point, and the suggestion is, he said, well, that didn't make my swing any better. I guess if I was the official, I would say, if that's the case, why did you do it?
Yeah.
There's no other reason to do it. He's not trying to give the television crew a better picture of his lie. He did it for a reason. And the reason was maybe not to gain an advantage, but he was just uncomfortable with that grass being there. And so when Rory is criticized, or has criticized, in this case, Bryson, he uses the right term. Bryson was being performative. He was a show at that time. And that's part of his shtick. That's part of who he is as a player and as an entertainer. And so to give him the 2-stroke penalty, the other argument is, well, this goes on all the time on the tour, and it's not called. Well, I mean, you're a parent, Mark. If your daughter tells you, well, everybody else is doing it, do you think that's a valid excuse?
No, and she cheats in Uno, and I've caught her. So absolutely, she's hiding cards between her legs, Dan. Let me play you what Rory said. This is a couple minutes, but I think it's worth hearing what he said about all this.
So I was watching it live. I was up in the players' lounge watching it with a few other players, and as soon as he made the step into the ball, we all sort of looked at each other and were like, that didn't seem right. And then when I heard that he was called in by the rules officials, I think it was pretty obvious for why. I think there's no doubt that he improved the line of his backswing. So, and again, it's like whether it was careless or whether it was intentional, I don't think it matters. Hopefully it was careless. But I think the 2-shot penalty was justified for sure.
What did you think of the scenes after? Obviously, you guys were delayed getting your tea times as well because of it all going on.
Late night for everyone.
Yeah.
So this is where it gets interesting.
Yeah, I won't pretend to be up here and defend Bryson. I'm not particularly fond of him. I think a lot of it's performative. I think a lot of it's for attention. And yeah, to hold the tournament hostage like that and have all of us, volunteers, players, everyone waiting on him to depart, I didn't feel like it was a great look.
Do you think he knew what he was doing?
Look, he's going to say, like, again, I'm not in his mind, I'm not in his, but it didn't look good.
Yeah, I don't think anyone can. Just look, any expert that I followed when it comes to the specifics of the rules violation, everyone was in agreement. Nobody argued the point. And, what happened throughout the rest of the weekend is Bryson's, getting memes made of him with a weed whacker. And then he goes up at one point, Dan, and he tries to imitate a weed whacker. The frustration that I have, and I think I speak for many fans out there, is here's a guy I just couldn't stand in the world of golf many years ago. Then I got to know him a little bit, and he matured, seemingly, and he would do videos on YouTube, and he's, done stuff with President Trump. He became a very likable figure, I thought. And then this happens, and it puts him right back in the jackass category.
Well, and I'll play psychiatrist here. Because he plays on the LIV tour, you get very little attention, certainly outside of your tournament site. And Bryson is somebody that thrives on attention.
Yes.
And he knew this weekend was the last time anybody's going to see him until the Masters next year. So it's natural for him to draw attention to himself. But I don't know, Mark, if you heard that in the exchange with the officials when he went back out there, he's reported to have said, I may call President Trump to see if he would intervene.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that because, look, Golf Week and other publications are reporting that. My question would be, two things. Did he really say that? And if he said it, did he say it jokingly because of the red card? I haven't, look, I swear, I hope he didn't really say that in a non-joking way because that would be ridiculous. I could see him doing that in a smart-ass way with the officials because of what just happened with the World Cup. But I don't think he really, I don't know, Dan. I don't know.
And I don't either. And that's the other tragedy about Bryson. Bryson doesn't talk to the press. He has a website writer that he spoke to at length during the week. And he spoke to one official from the RNA after a round. But other than that, I looked it up. The last time Bryson has done a press conference was before the Masters. He did one press conference. Since that time, everything else he has done has only been done in the context of the LIV tour. And so, when people are critical of him, the opportunity to get that out in front of the public is in a head-to-head confrontation, not conversation with the people in the media. And quite honestly, the media are very sympathetic to Bryson. He doesn't get harsh treatment at all from the media, except when he gets into these kind of circumstances.
Yeah. No, I think he's been doing real well. This was just like a step back, and he made it worse than it had to be. And that, I think, is maybe the frustrating part. All right, so here we are now, and we're just kind of closing in very quickly on a BMW championship at Belle Reve Country Club, aren't we?
Yeah, I think the last weekend put us 1 month away from that weekend in August when we have the Tour of Town. And I say over and over again, for people who are fans of golf, realize that this is a once in, a decade opportunity, because we know that the next thing coming to St. Louis is 2030, and that's the President's Cup, and that's a small field. So even if Belle Reve continues to be active, they're not going to see. And the other thing is, all the majors are booking out 15, 20 years in advance now. You can look up the date.
Oh, my gosh. I didn't know that.
U.S. Open. So, I mean, there's nothing there sitting out there for you. And so you let that opportunity pass. Yes, you can get on a plane and fly someplace. You can go to Pebble Beach next year. You can go to St. Andrews next year. You can't get out of your car and walk into the entrance of Belle Reve. You can't do that anywhere else. And this is your last opportunity for at least a decade to see the performers in person. And Mark, I'm going to tell you the same thing I've told Tom Ackerman. I'll tell anybody that plays the game. Just take one moment to stand behind any tee on the course at Belle Reve.
Yeah.
Rory hit a drive. it's worth whatever the price of admission is if you play the game to see that kind of talent right in front of you. It's hard to describe. You cannot get the feeling from television. You can only get that sense in person. I've had the pleasure of seeing that a number of times, and I always find it awesome to see.
It's almost like that moment 4 weeks ago when I crushed my drive at 18 at Belle Reve, clearing the bunkers with 98 to the hole, and then I, of course, bogeyed it, Dan. But I did have a great drive. I think it was on ESPN. Look, this is always great to catch up with you. By the way, BMWChampionship.com. Check out the website. Get your tickets. If you're a BMW owner, your key fob affords you some nice things and cool things. Dan, we'll talk soon. I appreciate it.
Enjoyed it,
All
Mark.
right, thanks. Audio cut of the day coming up.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
An accident eastbound 270 right there at the Canal Bridge in the left lane has left us with a parking lot jam back through Bell Fountain. That is the worst of it this afternoon. Now 70 westbound, a little slow at 370. 6440 is thinning out nicely. Some moderate volume at Clayton Skinker, but a jam approaching the 70 split. There was an earlier accident out there. Headed into Illinois, the bridges look fine, but eastbound 64 is pretty slow. Headed for 159 due to road work. This report brought to you by Missouri Brush Control. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Missouri Brush Control is helping landowners reclaim their property, manage vegetation, and clear land for better views. Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. Missouri Brush Control, making acreage great again. Visit MissouriBrushControl.com.
Hey, it's Scott Jennings, and what does America mean to me here on our 250th birthday? The future of Western civilization. The future of human liberty. That is what is at stake in our world right now.
America 250 is sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Why should you hire America's largest injury law firm for your case? There's lots of reasons. Just like there's a reason millions of people called us last year in their time of need. When it comes to fighting for justice and compensation, millions of people across the country trust us to go to battle for them. We became the largest injury law firm in the world for a reason. There's only one Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Injured? Dial #law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
For state senate, I like Mike. Mike Deering knows what a hard day's work looks like because he's done it his whole life.
I like Mike. He's a dad. He knows what our families are up against.
Mike Deering's a businessman. He knows what red tape actually costs.
I like Mike because Mike Deering stands with President Trump. Secure the border, cut our taxes, put Missouri first.
I'm Mike Deering. Career politicians spend more and tax more while your family gets squeezed. I'll lower your taxes, keep your money in your pockets, and cut government waste so deep it'll make the politicians squeal.
Mike Deering, farmer, small business owner, dad, conservative. I like Mike.
I like Mike.
I like Mike.
For state senate, I like Mike. Mike Deering. On Tuesday, August 4th, vote Republican Mike Deering for state senate.
Make common sense conservative leadership common again.
Paid for by friends of Mike Deering. Megan Kaiser, treasurer.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's best eggs.
They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
The Mark Reardon Show, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right, as I think I pointed out earlier, we got a big show tomorrow. Tom Albus, who is the U.S. Attorney for this part of the state, is going to join us, talking a little bit about crime and punishment, I suppose, because those two things kind of fall hand in hand and come together. Also, Hans von Spakovsky. I read an interesting, and I shared this on the air with the audience a little earlier. If you missed this in the 5 o'clock hour, Lisa Murkowski, who is a Republican but very moderate senator from the state of Alaska, wrote an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal today explaining her reasons that she would vote against the SAVE Act. There were actually some legitimate reasons that I want to ask Hans about. He's a big supporter. We'll do that tomorrow. We have been trying to get the candidates for St. Charles County Executive on the air. Jason Law and Bill Eigel were with us last week at 5:04 on a couple of different days. Steve Ellman, who is the incumbent, trying to keep that position, even though at one point he said he was not going to run. He'll be with us tomorrow at 5:04. George Rosenthal. George will do Tech Talk Tuesdays tomorrow from ThrottleNet. That's always a great time.
Stand by. Playback ready.
Now, the audio cut of the day.
Well, we've had now a couple of U.S. servicemen killed in Iran. There is fighting that goes back and forth. Kuwait's involved now. A lot of stuff going on. The president says we're going to bomb them. I thought this was a good question from Maria Bartiromo.
You know, CENTCOM says that there will be outsized action in retaliation, but I don't understand how it's possible that Iran has the capabilities to fight this way and continue to try to lash out at Gulf countries and U.S. military bases, because the U.S. has obliterated Iran's military, and the president continues to reiterate that.
I'm very curious about that question myself. I don't understand it. I don't see how the president can keep saying that, and they can keep lobbing missiles and bombs and still, have something, at least seemingly, to their military. So here's Victoria Coates with the answer.
Yes, and if you look at the numbers of missiles that they've been able to fire off from the beginning of this war, late February, early March, and what they're able to do now, it is very seriously degraded. They've gone from over 100 a day to less than 10, if even that. There's been a number of days where they haven't fired off anything, and they haven't targeted Israel for months now. So I think their capabilities are lessened, but they're not zero, and that's the important thing. They are a nuisance. They're going after their regional neighbors. And that, in a way, though, can also, in the long term, be a benefit for us, Maria, because this unites the entire region behind the United States and with Israel. That would have been impossible 10 years ago. Now it's actually happening in real time.
Okay, that might be a valid point, but still questions about how we can keep bombing and not have more of an effect. And then there's Bill Maher. I played a couple of bites from him earlier. Look, he told Jonathan Karl from ABC News his vote is in play because the Democrats have gone so crazy with communism.
You told J.D. Vance you're open, your vote is up for grabs.
Yes, my vote is in play because it can't be Trump running. Mm-hmm. So I'm not living in communist America. I mean, I know the talking point is that, well, it's not communism, it's socialism. Okay, I've read the quotes from the DSA platform, from their own mouths. Don't tell me I'm not seeing what I am seeing. And DSA, again, they say things like, takeover of key industries, government. That's communism.
Yeah, and it's dangerous. And I give Bill Maher a lot of credit for going out there on the ledge that most Democrats won't even dabble with right now. And it's pretty scary. So there you go. Audio cut of the day.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, we've had a major incident up north. It's an accident eastbound 270 right at the Chain of Rocks Bridge, kind of right at the beginning of it. Oh, left lane blocked, parking lot jam that goes back through Bell Fountain. Now, westbound 70 is fine out of downtown. 64 looks okay, but southbound 170 has an accident just north of 64 that's blocking things up. And then moderate volume on westbound 40 Lake St. Louis Boulevard out through the 70 split. We look fine on the bridges downtown if you're headed into Illinois. 64 eastbound, though, is slowing, and that's mainly as you head toward 159, all due to road work. This report brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. For over 25 years, they've been St. Louis's trusted choice for transforming homes inside and out. They do everything from siding to kitchens and give you quality craftsmanship with lifetime warranties. Go to lakesiderd.com. Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right, let's get you a very, very dependable standby generator from Generator Supercenter of St. Louis, because right now is a great time because they're offering you $2,500 off during the month of July. And it's really a no-brainer. The power has gone out from storms. We know it's possible during the winter. The power grid has failed. Mayor Mamdani has warned people in New York City to keep their ACs at 78 degrees. That's not very comfortable. But if you want a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 generator dealer, it's just a phone call or a website visit away. Now, they do have financing available with low monthly payments, and those payments are going to be even lower during the month of July because as a way of celebrating our 250th anniversary, they are, for Freedom Month, this month of July, which is going to be over before you know it. It's already the 20th. New sales and installation customers get $2,500 off. $2,500 off. Don't wait for the next storm or the next outage. Call Generator Supercenter today. 314-499-2020. Generator Supercenter of St. Louis.com.
You work hard, follow the rules, and get absolutely slammed by taxes. Your paycheck taxed. Your property taxed. Everything you buy taxed. Missouri's tax system isn't broken, it's rigged.